They tried to silence him. They erased his name. But he rebuilt from nothing. He fought every algorithm. They tried again and failed. Now he's back, stronger. From blackout to spotlight, he's at the White House, at the top of his game. Franchi lives.
You are about to enter another dimension, the dimension of truth, unfiltered and uncensored. Welcome to the Raw Feed with Gary Franchi.
Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from the heart of America. Unfiltered truth to millions on YouTube. Hit those donation links below. Every contribution powers our gear. Every contribution keeps the party going. Help me help you. Hit those donation links. YouTube channel memberships. Special acknowledgement in the fellowship. Your super chats keep me standing. Your Rumble rants fuel every round.
Say hello to super chats.
Spread the intel. Every repost extends our reach.
Super chats fuel this spectacle. Your Rumble rants give me strength.
24/7 members-only community, behind-the-scenes discussions.
Connect with fellow patriots.
My mama always said, life is like sharing the truth. Text this stream to your friends. What if I told you the app is real? Download the Next News Network app. Android users, take the Google Play path. iPhone users, App Store awaits.
Happy Friday, Next News Network family. And the Supreme Court just handed down a decision that's about to shake up everything you thought you knew about Trump's economic agenda. And what happens next will determine whether America keeps winning or gets dragged back into the swamps that the globalist elite wants us. And it's a nightmare. My name's Tom McCullough. I'm filling in for Gary Franchi, who's on assignment. He'll be back Monday. And this is the Raw Feed. You know, there's something beautiful, ironic about February 20th in American history. On this exact date, back in 1962, John Glenn became the first American to orbit Earth. proving that when America sets its mind to something truly great, we don't just compete, we dominate. And Glenn's historic flight wasn't just about space exploration, it was about American excellence and American innovation and the kind of bold leadership that refuses to accept second place. That is America in a nutshell, right? And that sounds familiar. That's the same spirit that's driving Trump's presidency today. The same refusal to let foreign competitors walk all over American workers while our own government sits back and watches. But speaking of bold moves, we want to talk about what's happening right now in Washington, because the establishment just got reminded that President Trump doesn't back down from a fight, even when the highest court in the land tries to block his American first agenda. I think they gave him the secret sauce on what he should have did. We'll see. But tonight we're diving into a Supreme Court decision that's got economics scratching their heads and Trump supporters asking hard questions about judicial overreach. And the president response? It was pretty much vintage Trump. Immediate, decisive, and guaranteed to drive his critics absolutely nuts. Then we're heading down to Georgia, where the devil don't go, where the president just delivered a masterclass in economic messaging that had steel workers cheering and Democrats scrambling for their talking points. And what Trump said to those hardworking Americans about foreign dumping and American manufacturing will make you understand exactly why the establishment fears his economic vision. They don't like it. They want us to fail. So this wasn't just a speech. It was a declaration of war against globalist trade policies. Meanwhile, up in Washington, we're witnessing the longest Department of Homeland Security shutdown in recent memory. And guess who's responsible? If you guess Chuck Schumer, guys, guess what? You are correct. It's him and his merry band of open border Democrats. And you'd be absolutely correct if you thought that. This is day 6 of this manufactured crisis, and Secretary, Kristi Noem just dropped some truth bombs that expose exactly what this fight is really about. And spoiler alert, it's not about the budget or bureaucracy. It's about whether America will remain America or become Europe's cautionary tale. But here's where things get really interesting. And trust me, you guys are going to love this next story. The Chicago Bears, the football team, we were talking about it yesterday, just became the latest casualty of Democrat urban decay. And the meltdown from Chicago's leadership and their failed governor is absolutely priceless. When even professional sports franchises would rather flee to red states, the Indiana, than deal with another day of progressive governance, the wheels have completely come off the Democrat machine. The mayor's response was pure comedy gold that perfectly captured everything wrong with Democrat priorities. And buckle up for this last one. This one's a subject close to my heart because President Trump just ordered the declassification of every single file the federal government has been hiding about UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrial phenomenon, and the technology and anything associated with it. And I'm not kidding. While his predecessor spent decades keeping Americans in the dark about what our own government really knows, Trump is doing what he always does, ripping away the curtain and letting us see the truth. Now, this is in the same time frame as the Epstein files. We want to see some arrests along with disclosure, and the betting markets are going crazy. Nancy Mace is vindicated, and somewhere in a Pentagon basement, deep state bureaucrats are probably having panic attacks. Maybe not as bad as Brandon Johnson's panic attacks with the Bears leaving, but we'll see. So you see what's happening here, whether it's trade policy, border security, economic development, or literal extraterrestrial disclosure, Trump keeps proving that transparency and America First policies aren't just campaign slogans, they're governing principles that deliver real results for real Americans. And the establishment hates it, the media can't comprehend it, and Democrats keep losing their collective minds over it. So tonight's show is packed with the kind of stories that explain exactly why Trump's presidency is something much bigger than politics as usual. We're talking about a complete restoration of American sovereignty, American strength, and transparency. The swamp creatures are fighting back harder than ever, but Trump, guess what? He doesn't care. He keeps punching through the roadblocks like they're made of tissue paper. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready for the raw feed because truth does not wait for permission, and neither do we. Let's go say hi to some people. Jeremy Olson, I saw your name pop up. I knew you were sick all week, and I'm glad to see you, and I hope the flu gets better for you and you're not down for the count, my brother. We got James Sari saying, can't wait to see Tom on here. Well, hey, nice to see you too. So, Vicky, hi to see Vicky, Pothead Kenny. We got Boyd. We've got Miss Pothead Kenny. Jeremy Olson's in here. Dave Wallenberg, what's up? Bill's Rules is here. James Fay. We got the whole crew tonight. Everybody's in. We know it's a Friday. We know it's going to be a fun one. And we get to talk about aliens tonight, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about. All right, we're going to keep going through. I'm going to skip down here. Sorry, guys. Sometimes these things are a little bit backlogged. We got Jerome's clickers in. One Looney Rooney. Nice to see you. You don't hate your government enough about the tariffs, right? Tracy Hicks saying hi, Tom. Hey, Trace. Cindy saying hi. 6537. Nice to see you, Cindy. Nice to see you. If I do anything stupid, let me know. What's up, Space Jam? For when to take on the tariff ruling. I've got a lot to say. I spent a good 3 hours, like legitimately 3 hours reading on the tariff and some of the other proposals that are out there. And what I was thinking this morning was that, okay, the Supreme Court ruled this down. We're going to get into it on the topic, but we're going to get into it. JJ916. What up, Tom? What up, JJ? Nice to see you. Yes, I'm here, Tom, and I'm still alive. Good, Jeremy. We want you around forever. You're an awesome guy. We love seeing you. Ron the Don Smith. What's up, N3 Nation and Tom? Nice to see you. All right, guys. I think the Bears topic's going to be a fun one, and we got some cool things going, and I'm going to have a great time crap-talking J.B. Pritzker, who's my favorite punching bag, because it's easy to miss. Sorry, it's not easy to miss on him. All right, Bri, how we looking? Cool. All right, we're going to get loaded up here, getting everything set up. It's a Friday. I'm casual today. I've been wearing suits all week. Gary likes black shirts, but you know what? I wanted to wear something a little bit different. The Supreme Court just delivered a devastating blow to President Trump's America First economic agenda, striking down his strategic tariffs after sitting on this case for 6 months. But here's what the mainstream media is not going to tell you about this coordinated attack on American prosperity and Trump's brilliant counterstrike that has the establishment panicking tonight. So this isn't just about tariffs, guys. This is about who's controlling America's economic destiny. For working families, this decision means watching China continue to flood our market with cheap goods while American manufacturers get undercut. For our national security means remaining vulnerable to hostile nations who use trade as a weapon against us. And politically, this is the deep state judiciary trying to kneecap Trump's second term before it even gets fully rolling. Don't forget, we got 3 more years. But they waited 6 months deliberately to maximize economic uncertainty and damage Trump's momentum. And Stephen Moore nailed it when he said this is one of the most important economic decisions in modern times, and the courts treated it like a political game. But here's what really has me concerned about all this economic warfare against Trump. Something's brewing in our economy, and you guys can feel it. The Supreme Court's delay tactics, the coordinated attack on Trump's policies, the mainstream media's cheerleading for decisions that hurt American workers. The problem? You never know the full story until after the damage is done, after the economic crash, after the dollar collapses, and after it's too late. Protect your family. Here's the brutal truth. You can't shield yourself from financial chaos after it hits. You have to be ready now. And all this uncertainty, the judicial sabotage, the warning signs flashing red, they're like big red lights going. They're telling us something critical about what's coming next for American prosperity. That's why smart Americans are taking action while they still can. But back to the Supreme Court betrayal. And get this, guys. Trump is now sitting on $175 billion collected in tariff revenue in 12 months. And that's in complete limbo because the Supreme Court was too incompetent to address what happened to the money in the ruling. Trump called it a defective decision that looks like it wasn't written by smart people. But here's the kicker. Trump just told the reporters that while the justices ruled against him are barely invited to the State of the Union, he's already working on alternative strategies to protect American workers. And you know what? They found one, and we're going to get into it. We have some stuff coming out from ABC News on X. It says the Supreme Court on Friday delivered a major blow to President Trump by invalidating most of the global tariffs, a cornerstone of his economic policy in his second term. And ABC News' Elizabeth Schultz has more to say on how it. Let's see what she had to say.
See the Dow now up 180 points. You can actually look at that chart and see that we were negative to open today when this decision from the Supreme Court came out. Stocks did trade higher, and now we're up about almost 200 points on the Dow. Look, the market wanted this decision. The investors have not liked these new costs on companies that they pay when they import products. Anytime we've gotten news that effectively rolls back tariffs, we have seen a positive reaction in markets, though it's worth noting this is not a huge spike. A lot of investors, traders, analysts did expect this could be coming. They thought that there was the justification for these tariffs from the president would get.
There wasn't a big spike because a big spike happened back in April when they did Liberation Day. The markets knew what was going on. There was no major panic when Trump first instituted the tariffs. The markets lost like a point or two for a couple days, and then they rebounded and we surged to 50,000 inside the NASDAQ, which is the highest it's ever been. Before they get into whatever they're about to do, we're going to go back to that. But again, all the panic happened back in April.
down. So that might be why you're not seeing, say a 500-point move or higher in the Dow right now. The question then for businesses is what this does for the bottom line. And it's not just the refunds, which Devin was just talking about. It's also the idea, Diane, that this does eliminate some uncertainty for companies going forward. I was just talking to one trader who said this is good news for big and small companies because it makes it less likely that we will see these sweeping across the board tariffs put in place that really upend their bottom line, their business model, and any ability to plan based on how back and forth this has been over the last few months. If the president does not have this authority to kind of put these tariffs in place and has to use more targeted measures, that is a big, that reduces some of the overhang that we've seen on businesses' costs. That said, a lot of investors and companies I've talked to do expect that the administration will find other ways to put tariffs in place. There are other laws that allow them to do more targeted tariffs on industries. We've already seen them do that with Section 232, for example, on steel. Very likely we will see the administration come out with some of those other plans. They've been hinting at that. Treasury officials we've talked to are already preparing to find other ways to put tariffs in place. So it doesn't mean that the tariff threat is completely gone here for businesses, Diane.
It's not necessarily even a tariff threat. It's just trying to make sure that we can compete equally on a global stage. The entire market has been against the United States because you have Bill Clinton, George Bush the First. All these people allow these trans-Pacific partnerships and the North America Free Trade Agreements, NAFTA, United Nations. All these people plus the lobbyists have been making sure that America's been getting screwed. I mean, we have a ton of money. We're one of the richest countries in the world. So they think we can keep popping in the piggy bank and we have unlimited resources. But when we close down factories and we do all these things across the U.S., we're creating giant areas. Look at Detroit. Look at Gary, Indiana, other places where the factories shut down and the people lost big. Trump is trying to save those neighborhoods right now through tariffs. So the breaking news is hitting multiple outlets simultaneously. Let's see how ABC is framing the market impact versus the political fallout. Back to ABC News again. So the Supreme Court has invalidated most of President Trump's tariff. Let's see what she has to say on this one.
Devastating is right. This is a huge blow to this White House and to this President. Trump, in the lead up to this decision, had said that a ruling against his tariffs would be, quote, devastating and a terrible blow to the U.S. economy and national security. He has used these tariffs as the main leverage, not just for negotiating deals with other foreign countries, economic deals, but also as a pressure point in his foreign policy. All of that now coming into question. He has argued that these tariffs have brought great wealth and national security to the country. The government has collected at least $89 billion in revenue from these tariffs. They could now be asked to refund all of that. There is a lot of questions about what happens to the money that has been collected so far and what happens to the deals that the president has been negotiating based off of these tariffs. What happens to other issues like, for instance, pharmaceutical prices, for which he has used these tariffs as a point of leverage to argue new deals to bring down pharmaceutical prices with other countries. So it is the ripple effects of this will be tremendous. What does it mean for the manufacturing here in the U.S., as the president has argued, has been boosted by the threat of these tariffs? Now, it does seem the president perhaps maybe knew that this decision was coming in very uncharacteristic fashion here at the White House just a very short time ago. The president is actually currently meeting with governors here at the White House, normally something that the press would be allowed to cover. Instead, the president brought in the cameras and quickly ushered the media out in a way that we don't normally see. I can tell you this, based off of the president's comments in the lead up to this, while we haven't gotten a reaction from him just yet, he certainly is likely to be deeply frustrated and angry about this decision, Kira.
So Daddy Trump was probably giving them the Daddy Trump speech while they were in there, and that's why they didn't let the cameras in. I'm guessing that's what it was. We got to jump back to the topic here. But as things go through all of that, he's back.
I'm back.
What's up,
back,
buddy?
guys.
Nice to see you. I didn't know you were getting back. I thought you were getting back Sunday. Nice to see you, man.
No,
we're over here talking about the tariffs and how was
what's been going on, dude? I've been in the Canadian wilderness, dude. It's been crazy.
How'd it go? Was it fun?
Dude, it was fun. The helicopter was kind of scary. But I mean,
you were on
like,
a helicopter?
Huh?
You were on a helicopter?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. It was wild, dude. The stuff I saw and experienced and learned is the coolest thing, dude.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
I can't wait to see you. You have a lot of video and stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually editing one right now. I've been editing it for like the last 5 hours on the plane, and it's gonna be a banger. It's like probably 35 minutes.
That's going to be awesome.
The aerial footage is unbelievable, dude.
I can't wait.
Like
the Canadian wildlife. I mean, just like the nature there.
I didn't see any wildlife.
No, I'm just talking just the trees.
Oh, I mean,
like
dude,
in the middle
it
of
was
nowhere.
beautiful.
It's got to be so cool.
And like just being in the sky and like, dude, we're like going on like the crests of mountains, right at the top of the crests, and like coming over things, and the pilot was like swerving around, and the stuff, it was just wild.
It was awesome.
It was wild.
That's too cool. Yeah, we're talking Trump tariffs now. What do you think about that?
Well, what's the, you know, I've been in the wilderness. I don't even know what's been going on.
So the
I'm hearing
Supreme
about
Court,
like UFOs and like Epstein and like
UFOs.
They want to buy the Pentagon or something. Tell me what's been going on?
So this week's been crazy. So we've had UFOs come out the other day. Obama talked about UFOs being real.
Yes.
So Trump said that Obama gave out classified information yesterday, and then he just ordered the Department of Justice to the Pentagon and the military to release all UFO files they have, declassify everything, including the technology that they've discovered.
Wait a minute, what?
Including the technology.
Trump is releasing the technology now?
He's declassifying the technology and the UFOs. He just ordered it. So the Department of War said, yes, sir, we're in on it. We're doing this. So Pete Hegseth is putting everything out. Representative Luna's going crazy. The Supreme Court just kicked down Trump's tariffs today for all of his global tariffs.
They kicked him down?
Yeah, they shot him down 6-3. They ruled against him. But Trump is not stupid. So about an hour after the decision came out, we're about to get into that here in a few minutes, he knew every single workaround, and they've already reestablished all the tariffs, and Trump's back on even grounds. Not to be a spoiler for the rest of this clip,
oh my God.
But it's Trump's playing some 5D chess. He set the Democrats up. He only applied certain tariffs to that section, let the Supreme Court shoot it down, pretty much saying, hey, everything else you've done is perfectly fine. He gave them the way through it. So even though the ruling was bad, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
You know, if you hit the three dots up there, up at the top of the browser.
This one?
Yeah, and then hit more tools.
Okay.
And then go to Zoom. You go to hit minus.
Okay.
I bring it down to 65.
Oh, that'd be a cool tip for you to have.
And then go and then drop the window at the bottom. Like, see that little arrow just over.
Here, just do this.
Oh, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Gary
knows his system. I'm still learning.
It gives you more real estate so you can see the chat better. And then because I don't use this, I just bring this up. I should have told you this. But, oops.
Oh, I hit the full screen. Yeah.
Hit escape real quick. It didn't work. Hit it again.
Thought it did.
I think I broke the show. Hit F11, is it? F11?
Uh-oh. Gary's breaking stuff. He comes back in. We're breaking it all.
There we go. This one here, 67. That's good. That's usually good. Can you see the chat okay?
I can see it great, yeah.
Yeah. Now you can see all of them instead of just a couple at a time.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because before it was like 3 chats. You guys, the whole system on the back end's pretty fun. We will have to do it behind the scenes for you guys one day.
Well, I'm going to let you get back at it. I just got home, and do you need some water or anything? You got water? You good?
No, I'm good. I got some water. I got my stuff. I'm ready to rock and roll, brother.
Yeah, I've been checking in, man. You've been doing great. I've been getting a lot of good feedback. So
cool. Well, I'm just trying to live up. I got to stand on the shoulders of giants.
Oh man. Well,
we'll get some chow after I'm done here.
Yeah, that sounds great, dude.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I love you guys. I miss you guys. I'm glad to be home.
He's glad to be back. All right, back to it. So we've got the next one from Tim Cass News. The important thing for this country is we stop the bleed. The Supreme Court striking down Donald.
In the middle of a segment?
Literally in the middle of a segment, yeah.
Oh God,
So it's all right. We're 13 in now, so we might have to.
Dude,
we might have to clip. It's okay. Gary's saying he's sorry. He's like, I didn't know you're in the middle of a clip, but he walks in. I see him walking on the side. I'm like, you got to come say hi. All right, so the important thing for the country is we stop the bleed. The Supreme Court striking down Donald Trump's tariff only serves to keep the U.S. completely dependent on other nations. Let's get into it.
And it is sad, to be completely honest, but what we're looking at, in my opinion, is not that Trump should be able to decree things or just do what he wants, but that the structures of governance have become so corrupt, convoluted, and inept that there is no mechanism, it seems, by which we can rectify the problems that are destroying this country. Now, I've seen my liberal and libertarian friends say that the tariffs are bad, but they have not explained how we pull ourselves out of a downward spiral where, and it is sad, to be completely honest, but what we're looking at, in my opinion, is not that Trump should be able to decree things or just do what he wants, but that the structures of governance have become so corrupt, convoluted, and inept that there is no mechanism, it seems, by which we can rectify the problems that are destroying this country. Now, I've seen my liberal and libertarian friends say that the tariffs are bad, but they have not explained how we pull ourselves out of a downward spiral where, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the idea that opening up the borders to flood the country with workers is a good idea while simultaneously moving our factories to China, Indonesia, Vietnam, Mexico, Canada, or otherwise, none of it makes sense. So I can only say this. I am not necessarily of the opinion that Trump, as president, should be allowed to simply make these decrees. But the important thing is for this country that we stop the bleed. We have endured over the past, I don't know, let's call it a decade or 30 years, a mass influx of low-skill labor, which by all means you can say is fine and you like, but you can't simultaneously have an influx of low-skill labor while giving away entry-level and low to mid-scale skilled jobs to foreign countries. It is a recipe for the death of this country. Now, me, I'm very, very much in favor of Donald Trump's tariffs for a variety of reasons, though I admit, and I will say it again, only because Congress is dysfunctional and broken. Only because we have no mechanisms by which to stop the degradation and destruction that we're facing. The end result, my friends, it would seem, is that we have become a nation of external support. That is, too many people in this country prefer to provide support to foreign countries as opposed to itself. We have become a country that cannot solve its own problems due to this dysfunction. And thus, we are effectively a nation of people sitting on a plane trying to fasten an oxygen mask to their neighbor's face instead of their own, and then both will asphyxiate and die.
So on Tim's point, they would do all of these things to set the country up to fail. And all of the top economics people, all the people, the economists, all these highly educated Harvard people made these decisions, knowing the consequences of what the long-term impacts to the United States of America would be when you offshore all of our domestic production. They knew this. And then you bring in cheap labor from other countries also to do two factors: to keep their people happy, get some free production or get some cheap production in the farm fields, and to bolster their congressional votes. These people know what they're doing. Like, nobody's stupid when they do these things. When you get into those rooms with the president, vice president, Congress, you are subject matter experts and you know the long-term consequences. None of this happened by an accident or because they didn't know what was going to happen. With the facts established, here comes the first wave of conservative outrage. From Gunther Egelman, he says, breaking President Trump just went full fire on the Supreme Court. He said, Supreme Court should do the right thing and uphold my sweeping tariffs. You know who brought the cases against us? People that have business in China, of course, and a bunch of other people. Let's see what he had to say.
I think I have to be in the United States Supreme Court for many, many months waiting for a decision on tariffs. Without tariffs, this country would be in such trouble right now. Without tariffs, this country would be like your company was 2 years ago. What a difference it made. And you know who brought the cases against us? People that are China-oriented, people that have business in China that want to rip us off and keep ripping us off, and the tariffs had stopped us. And not only China, other countries too. People from other countries like...
And that's what happens when most of our political people are up for sale with China. All these lobbying groups and these senators and all the fake outrage you see from the left people that were trying to stop the Trump tariffs. It's because China's a big donor. The companies that they back are big donors, and they're going to make their base angry because they've got to raise the money. That's why they're against these things. And Trump's firing back hard, and this quote shows how he's not backing down quietly. From Brandon Straka, walk away. He says, SCOTUS just cost the U.S. nearly $1 trillion in tariff revenue. President Trump said China-aligned parties ran to the court to kill it. Next year, $900 billion unless the Supreme Court says you can do it. Let's see.
This year, $900 billion in tariffs, unless the Supreme Court said you can't do it. Can you believe it? That I have to be up here trying to justify that with people like you. I have to put you on a stage in front of your family, but you did very well, so it could have been very embarrassing, right? You did very well. But it's a shame that I have to justify this because it's just common sense. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars. Out of that, I gave $12 billion to our farmers.
You know, I love how he interacts with the crowd. He brings somebody up that didn't expect to speak during this rally, which we don't have the clip of it, but he knocked it out of the park. And Trump's like, it could have been bad, but it was good, but it's bad, but it could have been great. You know, I just love how he interacts it. But the president's response reveals a massive financial stakes involved. Back to Gunther Engelman. He says, Trump's about to go nuclear. If I were Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune, I would go into overdrive today. They need to pass the SAVE Act. Without question, that is their core job right now for the next, I don't know, however many days they need to get this thing done. SAVE Act on Trump's desk, rogue judges impeached, deep state crooks taken care of. And we're talking about the rogue federal judges.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. The Supreme Court apparently has taken up tariffs this week, and the president, when he put those on, it's really for two reasons. It protects American workers because politicians don't have the guts to do that. We've put these rules, environmental rules and everything else at the urging of foreign influence, I think, and made our products unavailable to Americans because of the cost of them, and we just go out of business. You got the timber industry. You've got people lobbying, oh, don't cut the forest, don't cut the forest. And what happens? Keep managing them, they burn down. And then guess what? Those nice people in Canada can just dump all their lumber on us just right across the dadgum border. And you see that with coal. You saw that Chinese had coal reserves here in this country back during the Clinton administration. And after meeting with Chinese officials, they turned some of our coal areas into national reserves and protection under the, get that door squeak fixed. And so guess what? We got to get our coal from over there. They do all the energy, and then we're out of business. And actually, under in this country, before we had a federal income tax, the IRS, guess what? We made all our money through tariffs. We didn't have an income tax. Could you imagine if you didn't pay income tax? You probably still have your state and local, but they'd find a way to suck it up too. But anyway, pray for our Supreme Court that they make the right ruling. I think we're going down the right path. That's why you're seeing a lot of the labor folks are siding with Trump now, because Americans are back to work. We can make the products here. We just have to do it fairly. And it's not fair what's happening overseas. Thank you all so much for sending me here.
You know, it was a complete deindustrialization of the United States. That was their plan from the 1950s and 60s, again, with the cloud pivot strategy and all the other things they were trying to do with the teachers' unions and trying to communize the United States. They were doing all of these things on purpose. And Trump, when he said drain the swamp, he knows where all the bodies are buried. He knew that USAID and the tariffs were the path forward, and he's fixing things. And of course, that's going to make the left angry because they spent 40 years trying to destroy it. But the anger is building, and watch how supporters are calling for nuclear retaliation. From DeVroy Darkins, he says, former Deputy Assistant AG John Yoo says there's still hope that Trump can reimpose tariffs after the Supreme Court ruled against them. He said, actually, President Trump could turn around tomorrow and start the process of reimposing tariffs. Let's see.
Figuring out a refund process is going to be, right, the mother of all refund tax seasons. I mean, this is going to be a disaster. But that's up for another day. That's up to the lower courts. In terms of the future, I would actually say, Dana, and I teach trade law and international business law for my sins at Berkeley when I don't get to teach the Constitution. When I teach those, I teach the students, actually, President Trump could turn around tomorrow and start the process of reimposing tariffs. He doesn't need new legislation from Congress. There are a bunch of federal statutes. They go by fancy terms like Super 301 and Section 232. There are a bunch of existing trade laws. In fact, President Trump can use IEEPA itself. Again, the thing the court is saying is that you have to do it in a certain way. You have to use the trade laws to be specific as to a country and what that country is doing. Is that country a national security threat? So, for example, under the IEEPA law itself, the United States has pursued not tariffs, complete embargoes, 100% cutoffs of trade with countries like Iran, Cuba, and North Korea. If President Trump wanted to cut China off entirely, as some people, I think, in his administration would love, he can use the IEEPA statute to do that. And if he wants to impose more fine-tuned tariffs of 10%, 20%, he can use these other trade laws that I've been talking about that are sitting on the books.
So Trump did not wait a couple days or a couple weeks to reimpose these tariffs. We're going to get into that here in a second. But legal experts are jumping in with potential workarounds for Trump. But you know what? SCOTUS and everybody else, they knew what the plan was. Justice Brett Kavanaugh warns that chaos is about to ensue because President Trump would have to give refunds for the tariffs. Yet the court did not rule how they would play out. This is likely going to be a mess. Let's see.
Justices Thomas and Alito says this: the court's decision is likely to generate serious practical consequences in the near term. One issue is the refunds. Refunds of billions of dollars would have significant consequences for the U.S. Treasury, but the court today says nothing about whether, and if so, how the government should go about returning the billions of dollars it's collected from importers. That process is likely to be a mess, as was acknowledged at oral argument. So we have the big answer, but Harris, now we've got more questions about what happens next.
All right, well, we're ready to get more answers. Shannon Bream, thank you for getting.
So it's curious again. They're setting up all these precedents, you know, and like Trump didn't know that this was going to happen. Even Trump appointed justices are warning about the chaos this creates. And how do you go back and microtransaction and figure out who gets what refund where? That could take years. Can you imagine Joe Biden trying to figure out how to do that out? It just doesn't work out. Let's see what Trump had to say here. So the United States trade deficit has been reduced by 78% because of the tariffs being charged to other companies and countries. It will go down into positive territory during this year for the first time in many decades. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And he was winning on the global trade front. And then this happened. But they weren't stupid. They knew what they were doing. They knew that the Supreme Court could potentially rule in a limited scope on Section 232, which is what they ruled on today. And they ruled that Trump did not apply those tariffs correctly. But there are so many tools inside the president's work, inside his satchel that he could use, Section 131, 139, a whole bunch of other laws that exist. And they just went ahead and exactly did that. So these tweet appears broken, but Trump's full response. So the Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs, where'd it go, is deeply disappointing. And I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. Let's see.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way.
All 73 pages
Foreign
by
countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. That I can assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices.
And one doesn't even know, can't tell the difference between
no
a man
matter how
and a
good a
woman.
case you have, it's a no. But you can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court, and it's happened so often with this court. What a shame. Having to do with voting in particular, when in fact they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it, but we still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant, and loud. They're very loud. And I think certain justices are afraid of that. They don't want to do the right thing. They're afraid of it.
You know, they also, they ruled on the fact that the tariffs were a tax on foreign nations. That was the entire basis for the 6-3 decision, was that Trump, when he put the 10% tariffs unilaterally on the entire world to start as a negotiating point, he instituted a tax. And according to the Supreme Court, the taxing burden only comes down to Congress. But there's some distinctions between the president and what the president can do for national security decisions or interests that are in the best decisions for America. And as far as like trade imbalances and other things that go into it, and that's kind of where he's going to get into next. But they ruled on the fact that he imposed taxes on foreign countries through the imports, and that's kind of the basis for their whole decision. But their decision also pointed them in the directions where they were absolutely right. And they're not stupid. Trump's not dumb. We know this. And a lot of Scott Besson and Ludnick and all those guys, they know exactly what's going on. And they didn't wait long to fix the situation. But Trump's initial reaction is to this defiant counterattack. On Rapid Response 47, the good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, authorities as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. Let's see him starting to fire back, folks.
Good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. And in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved because I wanted to do anything, I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court, because I understand the court. I understand how they are very easily swayed. I want to be a good boy.
And you know what? I think he's taking the gloves off on that one. Let's see. So here's what Trump, pivots from complaint to promise of alternative action. So at POTUS, to show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I cannot charge $1 to any country under IEEPA, but I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. Uh-oh, things are heating up a little.
To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries, but a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that?
You know, I think it comes down to, power of the purses with Congress. So it's potential that he can give the license, but maybe Congress has to be the one to authorize what the fees would be on that. I'm not entirely sure on it, but we have three co-equal branches of government for a reason. Trump's revealing the absurdity he sees in the court logic, and he's not wrong on most of that. I mean, again, Congress passed the IEPA law in order to support the president when he has to do things. They did this back during the gas crisis. Remember when you used to have to put locks on your gas tanks back in the 70s and early 80s when we didn't have enough oil coming in? They passed that in order for us to get, favorable economic treatment with foreign nations as far as getting oil and other things into it to bolster our domestic production. So they did that for a reason and gave the president the authority to do it. They just said he used it too broadly, then cut him out at the knees and said he can't do it at all. So at POTUS, you got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito and Kavanaugh. And they are, because they're not only dissented, their dissent is so strong, as Kavanaugh said, you have other ways you can go. 63 pages worth from just Kavanaugh.
You got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh, because they not only dissented, their dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said, you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago. They allowed our country to be eaten alive. We lost 50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made all the cars. And then Mexico came, Canada came, and Japan, Germany. But they're all coming back now. They're all coming back at record levels.
I can't wait to see where this is going to get next. So watch Trump pray the justices who sided with him while hinting at his next move. I've been waiting for this decision so long. We waited months that we gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see this country get much stronger because of it.
Really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision. But they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months. And that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Look, we were ripped off by almost every country in the world. If you look at the surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world had some massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army. We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. Now, what we've done, I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, at some point you're going to say, and they have reduced it. Fentanyl is down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is a strong border. We have a strong border.
One of the greatest accomplishments of Trump over the last year was reducing the amount of fentanyl deaths by like 78% in months. Democrats have been talking about that for a decade. Oh, how do we do better on this? How do we do better? No, Trump just said, okay, cool. It's coming from these guys. Put 20% on them, fix it. And then he went out, took out Maduro. Now he's getting ready to deal with Mexico and the cartels. He's not playing games. But Trump's building anticipation for his alternative plan. Rapid Response 47, POTUS nukes fake news loser and serial liar. Yeah, this is a fun one.
No, you please. I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. Go ahead, Mr. President.
So that came earlier. CNN put out a fake article regarding Trump and a completely different talking point than what even the Supreme Court said. They used it as a complete exoneration of the left and Trump's a deranged dictator, so on and so forth. And Caitlin Collins tried to ask Trump a question in typical Trump fashion. You're fake news. Get the heck out of here. So classic Trump moment before he drops his real strategy. So Rapid Response 47, we're doing something in a different way, and we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place, but the end result is going to get us more money. And again, I believe Trump was playing 5D chess. He only apportioned certain amounts of the tariffs into different categories and different laws to apply it, because he knew that the weakest place he was applying it was in Section 232, so he made it the most broadly applied one across the world to see how it settled out in the Supreme Court. He played these people like fiddles.
You warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now?
No, because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way, and we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place. But it's more complicated. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time, but the end result is going to get us more money, and I think it's going to be great. Yeah.
Absolutely is. He has plenty of options on the table. So here comes Trump's big reveal around the workaround plan. He's with Lutnick, and he's believed with Secretary Scott Sucker Punch Bessent. Just so you understand, we have tariffs. We left them in a different way, and now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States, and we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars.
So you understand, we have tariffs. We just have them in a different way. And now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's no longer that question out there about tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well.
Let's see. So Trump's doubling down. He's claiming victory even in defeats. We've taken hundreds of billions of dollars. When it happens, all that money took in. I want to discuss. What do you think? We put one sentence here that keep the money or don't keep the money? Let's see.
Trump. So since Liberation Day, there's about $175 billion in tariff revenue that is now in limbo. Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion. And they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years. So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective. It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. I said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
That's too funny on that one. So the Supreme Court justice who ruled against the tariffs, are they still invited to your State of the Union? He's going to get a little bit of funny on this one.
The Supreme Court justices who ruled against this the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union next week? And will you speak with them?
They are invited, barely. Barely. 3 are happily invited. No, they're barely invited. Honestly.
One of the Supreme Court justices was just at some show where they, it was at the Grammys. She was at the Grammys. First time a Supreme Court justice ever came to the Grammys, and they treated her like she was a queen. Katante, I forgot the Supreme Court justice's name. Anyway, perfect ending with Trump's signature dismissive style towards the court. And Stephen Moore slams the Supreme Court for waiting 6 months to make the tariff ruling to come out right before the State of the Union.
Black eye there, by the way, John, because for the Supreme Court, I mean, why did it take the Supreme Court 6 months to make this decision? I mean, this is one of the most important economic decisions of modern times, and everybody's in a state of uncertainty about what's going to happen. I don't, shame on the court for taking, if this was their decision, they should have come out with this months ago, because it has left everybody now confused about what direction the economy will go in. But Trump, look, the stock market has responded pretty positively to this, as I see some green on the screen. So it is not the end of the world. I think Trump sounded pretty confident that he is going to find a way, especially when it comes to countries like China. I mean, I wonder, we talked about this early. Can he treat China as a special case, as a national security threat?
So right after that press conference, President Trump went out and he signed a series of executive orders under different sections. So they ruled him out on 232. He signed an executive order under section 131, I believe it was. I don't have the tweet here, and I thought it was in there, so I'm sorry for that, guys. But he just reimposed the same tariffs on the entire world yet again, an additional 10% on top of what it was before. And they used 4 different sections and 4 different rulings, along with his executive privilege for national security, to re-implement all of the tariffs within hours of the Supreme Court ruling. Trump won in the end, and he's not playing games. So this is exactly why Trump won in a landslide, guys. The American people are sick of unelected judges sabotaging our economic independence, while China laughs all the way to the bank. But Trump isn't backing down. He's already pivoted to the real threat that China is a national security threat that they actually are. The establishment thought this ruling would stop him. They were dead wrong. So the Supreme Court may have struck down Trump's tariffs, but they just handed him a massive political gift. Every American worker who loses their job to Chinese competition, every factory that closes because of unfair trade practices, and every family struggling because of the decision, they'll remember who stood with America and who stood with the globalist agenda. And Trump's already plotting his next moves, and I guarantee you the deep state judiciary just awakened a sleeping giant. The question is, do you guys trust Trump to find another way to put America first, or do you think the Supreme Court was right to protect China's interests over American workers? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. And while you guys are engaging, check out the Next News merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com to show your support for real America First journalism. All right. I didn't expect Gary to be here, guys. I'm sorry about that. I was like, oh man, I heard somebody next. I'm like, and I saw him, like, that's got to be Gary. And then he came through and said hi. So I'm sorry that he jumped in on that, and it was good times. He's got a lot of cool stories from Canada. I can't wait to catch up with them. We do have a super chat that came in from Copo801. Let's check that out. It says, "You are my president, Sir Trump. Fight, fight, fight. I'm still here to carry on with you. For my family, our loving God, and our liberty of America, for real American citizens." Thank you so much for that. All of the super chats and everything else, guys, that helps keep everything flowing over here. We got John Gardner saying, "Deep state owns the court." They did this by design. They absolutely did this by design. And, I'm sorry we didn't have that clip in there. They did announce at that same press conference sweeping new executive orders and tariffs that the Supreme Court can't go against, because the Justice Kavanaugh dissent was 63 pages in length, along with Alito and Thomas. Thomas, I think, was 58 or somewhere around there. But in those dissenting opinions, they pretty much told Trump, hey, listen, none of this applies to this section. They outlined where Trump can go next. So when they got the dissenting opinion, they're able to go out there and execute. They went right back to it. Didn't even last too long. We got Clifford Johnson saying, "Hello, Gary." Yeah, it was pretty cool. Gary came in. He's like, you tell he was straight out of travel mode. So we've got Cindy Butler says, "Time Supreme Court respects American people." That half the court doesn't like America. We've got a Supreme Court justice that can't even tell a guy from a girl. It's pretty crazy. She couldn't define it. And then she goes to the Grammys and she's like trying to be treated like a queen. It's pretty weird. We do have 3 co-equal branches of government, but the Supreme Court is supposed to historically be like neutral. Like, they're supposed to not be political. They're not even supposed to clap or stand up and clap during the State of the Union, to not show any support for anything. All right, let's go back into it. Jeanette Johnson, 2375, they were compromised by China. I agree. And then we have Looney Rooney saying, "I refuse to let lizard people with masks ruin America." I agree. I agree with that. We're going to go into a few more here. I know Brian's getting ready for our next section, so we got a few of it. All right, so Trump chose Gorsuch and Barrett after being told they were not conservative. That was from Tube Steak Johnson. I'm not entirely sure if that was, if he was notified before or after, but a lot of the stuff from the first administration still has consequence to this day, especially with the judicial appointees, the Supreme Court appointments. I mean, those are some places that people that last for a very, very long time. So if you get bad advice, that happens. And you know what, in all honesty, the Supreme Court's not even supposed to rule with the president 100%. They're their own branch of government. And they dictate and they say what's cool or not cool. So even if we don't agree with sometimes, it still sucks, but we gotta respect that they have as much executive privilege. All right, I got Brian in my ear here. 1 second. So Ron the Smith says, I trust President Trump because I believe he said that his signing is a sleeping odors. Right. We've got Pothead Kenny, Gary's Gorilla Forever, Yeppers. All right, so the next one's going to be... we got some economic wins in the Georgia conference, and these same iron workers are so happy that Trump's out there supporting him and supporting them and doing all these things to make sure the steel and all these other things are flowing into the country, and we take it away. And the Supreme Court wants to stop that. They want to stop one of the best economic booms this country's ever seen after one of the worst recessions we've had. It's pretty scary. So we're going to get loaded up here. You're in, Bray? While Democrats promised to bring back manufacturing, President Trump just delivered the proof. At Coosa Steel in Georgia, workers who went from 2 full shifts down to barely 1 hour are now running at full capacity again. The company owner said it himself, "Your tariff policy brought this here, sir." But wait until you hear what Trump revealed about the staggering job numbers that the mainstream media refuses to report. So this isn't just about one steel plant. This is about the entire future of American manufacturing. For decades, your jobs were shipped overseas while politicians made empty promises. Now we're seeing the blueprint for economic independence, and Trump's tariffs didn't just save Coosa Steel. They created over 70,000 construction jobs in Georgia alone, building factories that bring production back to America. And the personal stakes, your family's financial security depends on policies that prioritize American workers over foreign competitors. And the political stakes are even bigger. This proves Trump's America First agenda works while exposing how the previous administration policies systematically punished American businesses. And you know they did. Obama said they didn't build that. That's not yours. You didn't build it. Damn well we built it. And they rewarded outsourcing. Every job created here is a vote for economic nationalism over globalist surrender. So speaking of American revival, let me share something personal about healing and renewal. For years, my wife battled chronic pain and anxiety from her diagnosis, endless doctor visits, treatments that didn't help, watching her struggle daily. It broke my heart. Then Jonathan Otto introduced red light therapy and her pain vanished. Anxiety lifted. She became herself again. Just like Trump's policy revived American manufacturing, red light therapy can revive your body's natural healing. And this isn't some pharmaceutical band-aid. It's your cells responding to therapeutic wavelengths of light, reducing inflammation, boosting energy, improving sleep. While Big Pharma wants you dependent on pills, red light therapy empowers your body's own recovery systems. The same way Trump fights for American independence, you can fight for health independence. So check out red light therapy, your path to natural healing and independence. But here's what the media won't tell you guys about Trump's Georgia visit. He revealed that more Americans are working today than any time in our nation's history. Probably because they're getting rid of a lot of the illegals too, on top of bringing in cheap steel. Not just since 2001, but any time ever. And when Trump asked about that brand, the new crane at the facility, the owner said it had been there just 2 months, installed directly because of tariff policies. And this is economic nationalism in action, proving that America first works. Let's get into it, folks. So, Rapid Response 47 at Coosa Steel in Rome, Georgia. Your jobs were being stolen as foreign nations dumped their subsidized products on our market. But now, thanks to the fact that we got elected and thanks to the Trump tariff, business at Coosa Steel is booming again. Let's check it out.
I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of Georgia with the men and women of an incredible American company, the Coosa Steel Corporation. For more than 50 years, the hardworking Americans at Coosa Steel have poured out their sweat and blood and tears to turn into what, look, you wanted to take raw material and you wanted to take beautiful metal and you wanted to turn it into the highest quality steel racks and plates in the business, all stamped with those really beautiful words. You don't see it too much, but now you do again, made in the USA. Right? And this company prospered and grew from humble beginnings in a Georgia manufacturing. What happened is you became, in a very short while, a Georgia manufacturing giant. But then you watch your core business start to fade. I just spoke to your great owner, and he's great, but he got hit by stupid politicians, basically, making specialized steel tire racks dwindle from 2 bustling shifts to 6 days a week down to 1 shift and 1 hour. 1 hour a week. Then you went back up to 2 days, then you went back to 3 days, then you went back to 1 day, then you went down to 1 hour. Because all the business is going to China and other countries from outside. And it wasn't only here, it was other plants also. I assume your friends, likewise, were having the same problem. Your jobs were being stolen as foreign nations dumped their subsidized products. Don't forget China and these other countries, they pay for it. It's all subsidized. You don't get too much subsidy. But they dropped the subsidized products on our market to try and put Americans out of business, and that's what they were doing. You're lucky you have a man that is so proud of this place. He kept it going, barely kept it going. It wasn't easy. You're a lucky guy. But now, thanks to the fact that we got elected on November 5th, and thanks to what I call the Trump tariffs, business at Coosa Steel is booming again. We just spoke, it's booming. And in October, you received your first large order for tire racks since 2014. It was a big, massive order. In fact, this great man right here thought that they made a mistake. He said it can't be possible. No, it's called tariffs.
That's how it works. But that's the immediate consequences of Trump's decisions. We know that the steel industry in the United States was floundering and failing. We know that our car industry is going bad. But as soon as you put those tariffs in place, everything started flooding back to America for American workers to get paid. Then he did no tax on overtime to make sure those same workers are good. Did no tax on tips to make sure the workers that are, hourly. I used to serve and work in restaurants. I made tips. I would have loved to not get taxed on my tips. I wish Trump was president back in that phase of my life. But Trump's making his case with specific numbers from Georgia. Now watch this contrast with the previous administration's approach. From Rapid Response 47 at POTUS, we've created more than 5,000 manufacturing jobs in Georgia alone. And as factory construction gets underway, we've created 70,000 new construction jobs. Let's see.
Created more than 5,000 manufacturing jobs in Georgia alone. And we've had a very good relationship with Georgia. And as factory construction gets underway, we've created 70,000 new construction jobs right here. 70,000. And you know what they're building? Factories like this.
Yeah, Trump dancing.
I said to that brilliant person right there, I see the yellow steel. You know what that is? That's a crane, brand new. I said, how long has that been here? He said, about 2 months. He said, tariffs brought it here, sir. Your policy brought it here. So today, more Americans in the prime of their life are part of a labor force than at any time since 2001, and then you could go back another 25 years from that. And more Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Think of that statement. Any time in the history of our country, there are more Americans working.
Americans, key word. Americans, key word on that, folks. Getting rid of the illegal immigrants out of the workplaces and making sure those same jobs go to American citizens so we can buy American-made houses. Because now all the illegals are getting kicked out of those houses and now Americans can afford houses again. And all these people, he's doing all of this to help make sure the American dream is not dead for people. Look what happened with BlackRock. He banned them from buying houses so they don't hyperinflate the markets. Because all they were doing is buying houses and putting them up, and then now everything's $500,000. And you can't even put a down payment on it because you can't afford it because you can't get the overtime or the work you needed because all of our money was pushed overseas. That's all being fixed. That's what the Democrats hate. He wants people to be self-sufficient and to self-realize the American dream. He wants that, and they don't like that. They want people on welfare and dependent on the state, so they vote that way forever. After blaming his predecessor, Trump needs proof his policies actual work. Enter the local business owner with real results. Under the last administration, every economic policy punished American workers and businesses like this one. Let's see.
Under the last administration, every economic policy punished American workers and businesses like this one, while rewarding those who outsource to foreign nations. Under the Trump administration, our policy is the exact opposite, making it harder to outsource while rewarding those who invest, hire, grow, and build right here in the USA.
I love how he goes right here, Mr. Trump voice on that one, but he's bringing it here for our people. One testimonial isn't enough, guys. So let's see, with Coosa Steel, let's get into it.
This gentleman has a now great company. He was in big trouble 2 years ago, and then I put on the tariffs, and now he's going round the clock, making the racks, making the steel, making everything that he makes. And it's just amazing what's happened, that anybody can be complaining about tariffs. He just said, I'd give you a big hug if the press wasn't out here, because the tariffs have really been a big difference.
It's been a game changer. We were competing with China. They had taken all of it. They were producing racks at $90 a piece. Our cost alone is $150. You've leveled it. The playing field's back.
So when I came in and we did what we had to do to save all these businesses, you went through the roof, right?
We did. Our quotes, our orders. We're so busy now, we don't know what to do. My lead time now on an order is 36 weeks. We were at a point in time with our racks division, we were laying off workers. We were working one shift, 3 days a week, begging for work. Now it's the exact opposite.
He's turning work down.
We're turning work down, which is a position that nobody wants to be in, but it's the reality of what your tariffs have done.
Honestly, you've got thousands of businesses all over the country the same.
All
thing.
We've
taken it away. They were ripping us off. Every country in the world was ripping us off.
You know, story I don't really talk about. In 2016, when Trump won the presidency, I literally quit my corporate job. I was a pretty well-paid corporate guy. I quit to start my own business that I always wanted to do because I had faith that President Trump was going to fix the mistakes of the Obama administration, and I was successfully in business all the way through COVID. And it was one of the best decisions ever. And people, in having that blind faith, like this guy, like he probably was like, I don't know how it's going to go from the president. But, oh, man, these tariffs came in. Now, next thing you know, our factories are doing great. And that's just one story, one microcosm from all over this country. There are things happening in all 50 states. Probably your friends and neighbors have the same types of stories right now. My business exploded out of nowhere. The boom that came out of it. New construction, new people getting into roofing businesses. New everything is being opened right now because they know we're entering a new golden age of America through leadership and being able to compete on a world scale, even on labor now. It's crazy, all because of these tariffs and all because of what they're doing to the economy. So Steel's success is just the beginning. Trump's expanding beyond manufacturing to show how his policies help all types of businesses. We got Andrew Sayville explains Trump's tariff saved his business. In October 25, we landed our first huge tire rack deal we've had in 10 years. Let's see.
Welcome to Coosa Steel. My name's Andrew Sayville, as he said. I joined here in 2001 with my dad after I graduated from the University of Alabama. I've got to say roll Tide. I've got to. My dad bought this company in 1985. We began to diversify, add all American-made equipment. Everything you see here, American-made. We have all American-made steel. That's all we keep in all of those warehouses. All of it American-made. So we saw the tire rack industry really dropping off around 2010, and it was tough on our racks department. It was tough on these guys you see down front, these people that are used to this heat. I'm sorry if some of y'all aren't, but this is nothing to them. But the tire rack industry was going to China. There were no tariffs. They were bringing them in, and they were decimating the tire rack business in America. Your first term, we saw some things come back, just a little bit here and there. The second term, about July, the quotes, the orders, I couldn't keep up. They were coming nonstop. In October of 2025, we landed our first huge tire rack deal that we had in 10 years. This is going to keep our racks department busy for 2 shifts a day, 6 days a week, and we're pumping them out as fast as we can go, and they're all going to Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, right in America. Mr. President, what you've done for these guys down front, what you've done for our entire economy, what you've done for all of America, couldn't be done without your favorite word, tariffs.
Could you imagine being the president of the United States and then going to these places and then seeing these workers and knowing the decisions you and the people that you choose to be around you? A lot of them are his friends, but his closest economic advisors and his policymakers and his cabinet, they're making these decisions for the people. They're thinking of the people first. They're not thinking of the giant corporations even. I'm sure they consider that, of course. But again, at the end of the day, they want the American people to do better. So could you imagine the feeling you've got to have when you go to these places and you see these people like, you directly impacted my life. He doesn't know them from Adam. He doesn't even remember their names. He would never probably ever know the people's names. But he sees their faces and he knows that their house situation's a little bit better. Their food situation's getting a little bit better. Inflation's going down. They could buy houses. They get extra work. They have the cash now. It's got to be such a sense of pride that he must feel on every single day. It's incredible for me. Like, I could not imagine how that would feel. So another one from Rapid Response 47, it says, Georgia pharmacy grocery store owner explains how President Trump's tax cut is helping him upgrade his business to stay competitive. Let's see.
Good afternoon, Rome, Georgia. My name is Kurt Cowan, and my family and I are proud to call this community home. I'm the owner of GMC Value Mart, a family-owned pharmacy and grocery combo my parents started back in 1971. If you've ever shopped at GMC, you know we're not a big chain supermarket. We have fresh meats cut in-house. We know our customers by name, and we work hard every day to keep prices fair for families. But running a small business isn't easy. Between fluctuating food costs, regulations, and pharmacy reimbursement rates that don't always reflect what we pay, it can feel like the deck is stacked against you. That's why policies that support small businesses really matter. Under President Trump's leadership, Section 179 limits have increased, and permanent 100% bonus depreciation incentives make a huge difference. They allow us to reinvest in equipment, which doesn't just help owners, it helps keep prices down, keep people employed, and keep serving our neighbors. For us, that means upgrading our pharmacy to stay competitive and continuing to support local schools and community events. It means GMC Value Mart can stay right where it belongs, right here in Rome, Georgia. I'm grateful to have a president who understands small businesses are the backbone of a town like ours. Thank you, Mr. President, for standing with local businesses. It truly keeps places like ours alive. Thank you.
And the amount of executive orders that Trump did on prescription prices, have you guys gone to TrumpRx.com? It's literally like a discount card. You go on there and you get access to incredible discounts on medicine. Like if you don't have insurance, or even if you do, it comes out cheaper than insurance. So it's directly impacting businesses like that pharmacy you just saw. It's not even just the steel sector, just the car sector. I mean, it's the video game sector. It's the everything sector that's been impacted by the administration's push to reshore as much manufacturing as humanly possible back to the United States. So POTUS shares positive feedback from women's clothing boutique. See, we're talking multi-industries here. Let's see what she has to say.
The key part of our tax bill is Trump accounts. It's a big thing. These are the tax-free investment accounts for every American child, starting with $1,000 for every newborn baby. Every newborn baby. I also want to thank Michael and Susan Dell. Dell, go out and buy a Dell computer, because they don't care about that. They care about this. They make a great product. They're not looking for any publicity. I give them publicity. They say, well, thank you very much, but it's okay. They put up $6.25 billion. He started making computers on his bed. All of a sudden, he's got Dell. But he's a phenomenal person. She's a phenomenal woman. And they fund the accounts, and we're going to have funded 25 million children. So when they get to be 18 or 21, like these young beautiful kids up front, they'll end up with a potentially really good nest egg, depending on, where the economy goes a little bit. But they could be quite rich. And they start with $1,000. And a lot of people now are putting tremendous amounts because you're allowed to come in and put your money into those accounts. And a lot of people doing it actually way, way over what we thought would be. It's been tremendous. I want to thank Michael and Susan. Joining us today is Bree Thomas, a local women's clothing boutique owner, along with her husband, Austin. Their newborn son, AJ. Bree and Austin are very excited to launch AJ's Trump account with millions of dollars. Think of this, millions and millions of dollars being put into these various accounts. But on July 4th of this year, think of it, all you have to do is go to the trumpaccounts.gov. Go to trumpaccounts.gov. People are putting in money, and the people themselves are putting. Millions of Americans will benefit from these pro-job, pro-worker, pro-child policies. But Georgia's Senator John Ossoff and every Democrat in Congress voted against them.
That's what it is. They don't want people having an edge in life. Well, of course, why wouldn't the Democrats vote against it? They don't want that thing. They don't want it there. They want to try to shut it down. I know I filed my taxes, I think last week or the week before, and my children now have Trump accounts. It's cool. I mean, they have 529s and whatever else, but you know what? The Trump account, it's a solid deal. When you guys file your taxes, make sure you click the box if you have children. With manufacturing and tax cuts covered, Trump pivots to the housing crisis, another key economic pressure point for families. From Representative Brian Jack, it is special to welcome you back here. We're celebrating today the passage of the Working Families Tax Cut. It's abundantly clear those tax cuts are working here in Georgia. Let's see.
Well, it is good to be back in Rome, Georgia. Do we have anybody here from Georgia's 3rd Congressional District? So that's my district, Mr. President, and the last time you and I shared a stage was in Rome, Georgia, 2 years ago when you endorsed me for Congress. It is special to welcome you back here. We're celebrating today passage of the Working Families Tax Cut, and as the President brought folks on stage, it is abundantly clear those tax cuts are working here in Georgia, they're working across the country, and they're going to help us win in 2026.
Awesome. Let's keep going. My transition messages here a little bit off, so we're going to go to the next one. So rent prices have hit 4-year lows based on what we've done. By bringing down mortgage rates, we've also slashed the yearly cost of new mortgages by $4,000. In the last 12 months, Fannie and Freddie helped 22,000 first-time homebuyers purchase a home right there in Georgia.
We're also expanding the dream of home ownership, and we are really right now in American dream territory. One of the biggest factors driving up housing costs was the Biden border invasion, which brought in millions and millions of people flooding into your communities, getting government subsidies on homes. Foreign-born workers now make up over 1/3 of all demand for Georgia housing, driving up rent and housing costs. Now that we've secured our border, we stopped the invasion. Think of this. Millions of people came through our border every single year. Millions and millions of people. In the last 8 months, I don't even believe this could be possible, but it's close. 0. And that's done by radical left Democrats. Now, not one person in the last 8 months has come through our border, except if they come through legally. So rent prices have hit 4-year lows based on what we've done. By bringing down mortgage rates, we've also slashed the yearly cost of new mortgages by $4,000 a year. And new mortgage applications are up 30%, and Kelly Loeffler's doing a fantastic job. In the last 12 months, Fannie and Freddie Mac helped 22,000 first-time home buyers purchase a home right here in the great state of Georgia. I love Georgia.
My best friend Mike's about to buy his first house ever, and it's all because the interest rates are coming down and it's affordable again. Things are getting better. They're not as low as they used to be. But you know what? They're making a lot of progress in kicking out BlackRock and making sure that Fannie and Freddie Mac just bought $200 billion in mortgage securities, making the FHA loan process even more adaptive. They dropped the credit score requirement from, I think it was like a 580 to a 540. They're making it way more access to people to achieve the American dream. So rapid response from Press Secretary. POTUS wants the United States to be a nation of owners and not renters. He wants families to live in homes, not institutions and big corporations. The left wants you to own nothing and be happy. Let's see. what the Trump wants us to do.
First of all, the president is obviously committed to deporting illegal aliens from our country and those who are not lawfully present in the United States, which he has done at a record pace, which has led to the falling of rents, as I pointed out in my opening remarks. Secondly, the president has recently announced that he is fighting for a ban on institutional investors and Wall Street billionaire corporations from buying up single-family homes that should be lived in his opinion, by American families. We know this is going to have a remarkable impact on the housing market and on prices and supply and demand for the American consumer and the American family. And then thirdly, the president is also expediting permitting as fast as we possibly can to build more homes, to increase supply, to obviously bring down the cost of home ownership and purchasing homes for the American people. And then also, as I mentioned as well, we do see mortgage rates falling. So all of this is combining to make housing more affordable in this country. There's still a lot more to do. The president is still digging his way out of the mess that was created by Joe Biden's administration and jacking up mortgage rates and jacking up housing costs. But we do see very positive trends in this direction. And the president wants the United States to be a nation of owners, not renters. He wants families to live in homes, not institutions and big corporations.
Absolutely. That is the American dream. Growing up, I never thought I'd ever own a house, and I did. I worked so hard, 100-hour weeks, saved everything I could, went through crazy life crises, bankruptcy when I was like 20 because of a bad car accident that left me broke. I never thought I'd ever do it, and then I did. And that's just the craziest part about America. No matter how crazy things get, you could always work back and do better. So from Nate Morris, the so-called expert said President Trump's America First tariffs would fail, but they were wrong again. The latest economic numbers show the economy is turning around, and we're seeing a historic amount of investment into the United States.
Well, Maria, we saw the numbers yesterday, and President Trump has done an amazing job at turning around this economy. He inherited something so bad from Joe Biden, but thanks to President Trump, we're back on track and we're thriving as a country. And, you know, I think it's trade deals that the president's gotten done. His tariffs have been fantastic for Kentucky. I mean, we just saw a $2.5 billion investment from Apple last year in manufacturing. That would have never happened without President Trump's tariffs. Yeah. And I think working Kentuckians, they see this. You know, 19 of my family members worked in an auto plant. And when things like NAFTA and China entering the WTO, when these things happen, it was people like my family that got hurt. And I'm so thankful for President Trump for fighting for working Kentuckians like my family.
Amen. And I think he's fighting for every family, too. But he's fighting hard for everybody. It doesn't matter race, color, creed, religion. He wants all of us to succeed. Core CPI inflation has fallen to its lowest level since 2021, and real wages are up nearly $1,400. That means roughly half of the purchasing power that Americans lost during Biden era have now been recouped. Let's see.
Day one, the Trump administration has been focused on two things: lower inflation and bigger paychecks. And yesterday's inflation report showed just that. The rate of inflation has fallen. Annual core CPI inflation has actually fallen to its lowest level since 2021, and real wages are up nearly $1,400. And that means roughly half of the purchasing power that Americans lost during the Biden era has now been recouped in record time in just 1 year. This is just the beginning. Look, the president's policies are only now beginning to take effect. The president last summer signed the biggest tax cuts in American history into law, and only now are Americans in the midst of the biggest tax refund season in American history, with no tax on tip, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. So as these tax cuts, as our rapid deregulation, as our trade deals continue taking effect, you're going to continue seeing Americans' wages grow faster than the rate of inflation, and for Americans to get better off in real terms.
You know, it's crazy. So the inflation is coming back down again. But you know that your local taxes, at least where I live, they can go up to an inflationary amount. So the higher the inflation, the more taxes you get to get taken out, because they get to vote on that every year. They're like, oh, do we get to levy a new tax? Yeah, cool. Oh, what's inflation? Inflation's 9.5%. Oh, well, we could only raise up to 8.5%. Gosh, I guess we're just going to have to do the full thing. And they did that for every single year under Biden. That's why your property taxes probably went through the roof. I know mine did. Mine went up $3,000 in 4 years, which is insane. But hopefully that starts coming back down because the inflationary rate is dropping. So Pulte, income needs to buy home falls 4% from National Mortgage News. I'm not going to open the link because I don't know how to get back to it. So Rapid Response 47 says, when you dig a little deeper into today's inflationary report, we also saw, for instance, prescription drug prices actually decline last year. That's insane. In addition to the fact, we just launched Trump RX. We were just talking about Trump RX. Let's see.
Today's inflation report showed once again that President Trump has defeated Joe Biden's inflation crisis. What Americans saw and what Americans have been seeing are bigger paychecks and lower inflation. We saw inflation for 2025 drop over 2024. We saw annual core inflation at its lowest since 2021. We saw real wages increase by $1,400 for the average American worker. That's almost half of the real wage loss that Americans saw during the 4 years under Biden. So this is tremendous news. It's building on the news you also mentioned about our great jobs report, showing 170,000 private sector jobs. We've building on all-time high stock market highs that we've been seeing repeatedly. And the thing is that when you dig a little deeper into today's inflation report, we also saw, for instance, prescription drug prices actually declined last year. And that's despite the fact that we just launched TrumpRx.gov last week. As we get more drugs on there, negotiate more most favored nation drug pricing deals, work with Congress to pass the great healthcare plan, we're going to continue seeing even bigger savings for the American people. So, once again, the Democrats have been talking about affordability, but the reality is that Democrats and Joe Biden broke it, and President Trump is fixing it.
Something they just said was very, very important. They said 170,000 private sector jobs. So when Biden would tout that, the economy grew 300,000 people or another 200,000 jobs were added, most of that was not public sector, meaning like McDonald's or other corporations, mom and pop shops, Walmart, etc. They were talking about like government jobs growing bad. So like they knew the job reports were going to come in bad for Biden. So they would, they would hire 100,000 people to work at the government for like a short term and then call that job growth. And then when they would actualize it, we covered all of the lies, just so you guys know, we called this out every single time. But that's what they would do. But this is real Americans getting jobs, not foreign workers that are getting paid under the table or falsified job reports, meaning government sector growth. This is private sector growth. It's huge. It's such a big deal. The last time we saw what we were seeing now was in 1998 from Real Navarro on the stock market success. Let's see.
It's the perfect Trump economy in 2026. It's what we call a Goldilocks economy. The last time we saw what we're seeing now was 1998. And what are we seeing? We're seeing stock market over $50,000. That's Wall Street. But we're also seeing rising real wages. That's Main Street. We're seeing a return to manufacturing. We're seeing strong growth, and it's all happening in a disinflation environment where we're at or near Fed target. We're near Fed target, and it's really extraordinary what's happening, Maria. You and I, your day job during the week is looking at these macro indicators. We've had the jobs report come in with blowout numbers. We had the ISM Manufacturing Index, which is dear to my heart because I'm the Counselor for Trade and Manufacturing. That's showing a very robust final jump in manufacturing. CPI, as you just reported, look, and this is happening because of tariffs, not in spite of them, as the critics would say, because if there were any tariff inflation, it would show up in the core. It's simply not doing that. So everything is hitting on all major cylinders, and the best is yet to come. I'll tell you, Maria, when Americans get those rebate checks on tax day, that's going to be the biggest rebate and broad-based in American history. In 2026, unless of course the geopolitics gets in the way, it's shaping up to be beautiful. And one last thing I would say on this: the media's got to take some responsibility here, and the Democrats, to the extent they keep bashing us, irrespective of the data, that's going to drag down confidence. It's like, come on, like see the data, speak the data, be real. Trump economy. Perfect. Best year since 98. We'll top that. It's probably one of the best years in modern American economic history. Not hyperbole. That's what the data's telling us.
And it's incredible. Could you imagine saying that just 2 years ago when Joe Biden was president, Kamala Harris was going to be on the ticket after they did whatever they did at the convention? And could you imagine being able to say that we've had the best economy in 50 years or 30 years or 40 years? What a change. The change happened because you guys got engaged, you got involved, and you voted. Don't forget Trump in the midterms, guys. Get out there and vote this November. So that moment said everything from Navarro. Trump pointed to new equipment at Coosa Steel and asked how long it had been there. About 2 months. The owner replied, tariffs brought it here, sir. Your policy brought it here. And it's not political spin. That's a business owner crediting Trump's policies with saving his company and his workers, like their livelihoods even. But American steel, American jobs, and American prosperity. This is what winning looks like, folks. While Democrats talk about helping workers, Trump delivers results that can measure in paychecks and production lines. Coosa Steel went from barely surviving to thriving. Georgia gained 70,000 construction jobs, building new factories, and America is experiencing record employment. The contrast could not be clearer. The previous administration punished American businesses while rewarding outsourcing because they didn't want it here. Trump's administration does the exact opposite. Every new crane, every additional shift, every worker called back proves that America First policies create American prosperity. Finally. So do you guys believe Trump's tariffs are bringing back manufacturing to America and jobs? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. And while you're thinking about American-made quality, check out the Next News merch shop for gear that represents the America First movement. All right, that was fun. I didn't get Gary jumping in. I can kind of hear him running around, so maybe he will stop back in during a break. We don't know. We had a super chat come in from Salty Nationalist. Says $10. Thank you, Salty Nationals. R.I.P. to the hags at the View. Oh my God! So if you guys watch TV, I'm sure you've seen clips of the View and how crazy they are, right? Navarro and all those Whoopi Goldbergs, the psychopaths. So they've been all about the Epstein files and Trump's got to be in it. Trump's got to be in it. Oh, yeah, well, we know he is. He's such a bad guy. Guess what? Whoopi Goldberg was in the Epstein files. Not once, not twice, hundreds of times. And then they spent the last 2 days trying to say, oh, well, anybody can be in these files for any reason, completely backflipping and backlogging and going crazy. And it's hilarious. I want you guys to get on there and watch it. All right, I'm scrolling back down so I can see what you guys were saying during it. Damon Gore looking great, Tom. Thank you. Vicky says, I saw it, but I'm not a mod. Boyd was watching. Oh, hopefully our moderators and our admins are incredible. If there's a situation, you guys know how to handle it, and feel free to do what you need to do to make sure the channel's in good space. So if you need a ban or need a boot, do what you need to do. So Clifford Johnson says, we needed to be adjusted. We were not businessmen. Yeah, Trump is like Gary, working hard for the right reasons for Pothead Kenny. Right. We're going to scroll through it here. There's a lot of it about why that person may or may not be banned. We'll have to see how that goes. Bills is in Atlanta. Oh, man. Maybe one of these days we should do a Next News Network meetup one day, guys. Okay, Bill's Rouge says, stop the Democrat Communist Party. A vote for a Democrat is a vote for communism. It is. They want it. Look at the teachers' unions. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to see. They want the kids to be socialists. They need to follow the cloud pivot strategy and the Communist Manifesto. They've got to denuclearize a family. They got to take care of a lot of things to try to ruin our country in any way they can. That's why our kids, when they go to public school, are out protesting in the streets. It's terrifying. Southern Gal 7582. Good evening, beautiful patriots. Welcome, Southern Gal. I haven't seen your name before. Nice to see you. Jose says America is grounded, unmoved, and all these speaking are contrary, delusional haters. Yes. It's amazing how many people that live here in the freest nation in the world, the freest nation that's ever existed in the history of the world, and they hate us. They hate it. They want to go to the people that are they're gay. They want to go move to the Middle East where they get stoned to death. Like, okay, gays for Palestine. That doesn't make sense. None of that makes sense. The best chance at anything in life is here in the side of the United States. All right, I'm going to go through a couple more, and then we'll get into the next one here. All right, streaming. It's a lot of comments to go through. All right, Rumblebot. Oh. If you guys are on Rumble, make sure you share. If you guys are watching on X, make sure you hit it. And if you can, join us, become a member, and come into the Discord chats after it. We got Bill's Rule saying, if the Teamsters step up and refuse to unload the ships, then we should refuse to support the Teamsters. That's pretty logical. All right. Kathy D. Eaton said, I love America. And I'm sure America loves you too. And we love having everybody here. Copo 801 USA, American flag emoji. Yes. Like the lunar module they sent up in the 60s, wrapped in tinfoil. That's fireproof from the Salty Nationalist. All right, you guys give me some good comments in it. I try to watch as we record so I can maybe inject something. I was fact-checked in real time yesterday, and I greatly appreciated that. And this next one's going to be fun. Another shutdown by Chuck Schumer. Day 6 of the Democrat engineered DHS shutdown, and Chuck Schumer's gang is literally holding America's security hostage to protect criminal illegal aliens, because that's all they care about. While ICE agents sit idle and dangerous criminals roam free, Democrats are playing the most cynical political game imaginable. But what they don't want you to know about their real motives will shock you. So this isn't just political theater. This is about your family's safety. Every day this shutdown continues, ICE cannot arrest the violent criminals Tom Homan's team have identified. Your neighborhood becomes less safe while Democrats are virtue signaling. Socially, we're watching the complete inversion of American values, a major political party choosing foreign criminals over American citizens. Politically, this exposes the Democrat Party's true priorities. They'd rather see Americans hurt than give Trump a win on immigration. And they're not betting you won't notice the crime surge that follows or that you'll blame Trump instead of their obstruction. But while Democrats create the security crisis, there's another story breaking that the mainstream media is completely ignoring. We have breaking news that is breaking quietly, and most people missed it. While headlines focused on the shutdown drama, the Trump administration just released a document that could fundamentally reshape the U.S. mining sector. And this is real, and it's unfolding right now under Executive Order 14241. This goes far beyond typical policy. We're talking about America reclaiming control of critical resources that China has dominated for decades. The timing is not coincidental, and while Democrats obstruct border security, Trump is securing our economic future through domestic mining independence. And Vizsla Copper has been tracking these developments, and their analysis shows this could trigger the biggest shift in American resource strategy since the 1970s. And the implications for American manufacturing, national security, and energy independence are massive. Smart investors are already positioning themselves. So get the full breakdown at VizslaCopper.com, and we're going to get back to the Democrat hostage situation again. So here's what this makes us like even more dangerous. Tom Homan just proved the system works when Democrats get out of the way. Minnesota Tim Walz's own state is now cooperating with ICE operations. Finally, it took a lot of threats, but local jails are working with federal agents, and arrests of dangerous criminals are happening efficiently and safely. But instead of celebrating the success, Schumer shuts down the entire department. Of course they will, and they're going to blame Trump for it. How dare you? So government and partial shutdown over DHS, and Democrats are the reason for no good reason other than the Democrats wanting to pick a fight with Donald Trump. We got Caroline Levitt. Let's see.
One more on the shutdown. We're now in this partial shutdown over DHS funding. Has the president personally spoken to the Democratic leaders in Congress? Can we expect to see them at the White House to try to make a deal on this?
Not to my knowledge, he hasn't had any direct conversation or correspondence with Democrat lawmakers recently. It doesn't mean he's not willing to. I'm just not aware of any conversations that have taken place. I do know the White House and the president's representatives have been in direct conversations with both Democrats and Republicans. But of course, Democrats are the reason that the Department of Homeland Security is currently shut down. They have chosen to act against the American people for political reasons. And now we have FEMA workers, the men and women of the United States Coast Guard, men and women of TSA who keep our airports moving, who will be working without paychecks for no good reason other than the Democrats wanting to pick a fight with Donald Trump. And the president thinks that is irresponsible and despicable. He wants the government to be open. We've been engaged in good faith negotiations with the Democrats. Last night, they sent over a counter proposal that frankly was very unserious, and we hope they get serious very soon because Americans are going to be impacted by this.
And that's it. The Democrats don't care how it impacts us. And ICE has been funded through 2029. They're already funded for the next 4 years, but they're shutting the government down to stop ICE that's already been funded for 4 years. And they're only doing this because the TSA is going to cause long lines at the airports. The Coast Guard's not going to be able to rescue people. They shut FEMA down. They did this. Not only did that decision impact, airport wait times, but if there's a natural disaster, tornado, hurricanes, earthquakes, now forest fires, whatever, they don't want FEMA to respond. They want Americans to suffer because that's going to give them the talking points they need on the news. They don't care about you or your family. They want illegal immigrants to be let out of jail so they don't get arrested, so they don't get taken out of the country. They don't care. They want those people to be counted towards their census votes so they can have more apportionment in the Congress. They don't care about your family's safeties. So this sets up the blame game perfectly. Now watch how Democrats are demanding action while pointing fingers right back at Republicans. Of course, because that's all they can do. From Bonewitz, he says, bring the DHS shutdown to a close. Let's see if we can zoom in on this. The Democrat shutdown cost the USA at least 2 points in GDP. That is a lot when you have a $20 trillion economy. And that's what they're doing it in mini form. Again, no shutdowns. Also, lower interest rates. Too late. Powell is the worst. President DJT. And Jerome Powell, I think, is out. We'll see. The call for quick resolution shows mounting pressure, but the real fireworks come when we hear the Democrats counterattack on ICE funding. We'll see how great this is. Oh, we got Dollar Tree Obama saying Republicans are to blame for the partial DHS shutdown. They would rather shut down FEMA, shut down TSA. We need 60 votes in the Senate to pass any kind of continuing resolution. Guess how many Republicans are in there? 51. We need 9 Democrats. If 100% of the Republicans vote and none of the Democrats do, it's the Democrat shutdown. They can't do math because they're being taught how to be socialist, manifesto people inside of school. They don't know math anymore. Let's see.
This is day 5 of the Trump Republican shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. Why are we in this moment? It's because Republicans have decided that they would rather shut down FEMA, shut down TSA, and shut down the Coast Guard than get ICE under control. The American people know that ICE needs to be reined in.
No, you need to be
We
reined
believe
in.
that taxpayer dollars should be used to make your life more affordable, not to brutalize
But
or
he's doing that
kill
already.
American citizens in cold blood, like Renee Nicole Good or Alex Preddy, or to violently target law-abiding immigrant families, which we know is taking place all across America.
It's funny. If Dollar Tree Obama listened to actual Obama, Obama was the deporter in chief. He went through and he deported 3 million people in 4 years. He got rid of them back when it was kosher to do so. But Dollar Tree Obama here does not care. He's saying that they're doing this, that they killed American citizens in cold blood. One of the officers was almost ran over by the car, fired in self-defense. Another one, the guy was grabbing his pistol trying to go for it. These people will use anything because their voter base is stupid. They don't watch the news. They watch MSNBC. They'll read snippets from some crazy Cranstein brother or whatever online. Or what's that little kid that was running around pretending to love Obama or Biden or whatever? I forgot that kid's name. Let me know in the comments. So Jeffries just flipped the script completely. Now we're about to see how the GOP fires back with their strongest talking point about American safety. From Raymond N.G. saying, Schumer's partial government shutdown. Democrats want to risk the lives of Americans. Yes, they're going to risk it because they don't care. They want the votes. That's all they care about, the votes and the funding. Let's see.
It is not totally clear what the Democrats are hoping to get from the partial government shutdown. ICE is already fully funded, unfortunately. Now, this shutdown is actually targeting air travel, that's TSA, emergency responders, FEMA, the Coast Guard, Secret Service, and Democrats are now playing a very dangerous game. To what end? Here with more. Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. If you can explain this to me, I'd love to hear your explanation. But I do know this, and even CBS News reported it. Last year, 2025, 2,100 Americans were murdered by either convicted or people charged with illegal immigrants charged with killing Americans. 5,400 convicted or charged, again, illegal immigrants charged with either raping or sexually assaulting American citizens. Why don't the Democrats care about the names of those people?
Yeah, it's shocking to me, Sean, to hear them constantly speak on behalf of politics instead of the American people. And Americans are going to have a choice coming up here if they want to choose the Democrats' mass migration and infiltration of criminals, but not just criminals. We have thousands of known and suspected terrorists that the Biden administration let into this country. Or they can continue to choose President Trump, who's making our country safe again, who's making it more affordable for families to get into homes and to buy their groceries and put gas in their car. He's giving them safety back in their communities. And that's what the Department of Homeland Security does every single day. What Democrats have done by defunding this department is put our safety at risk right here on our own soil. We every day protect people in their communities, but also our cybersecurity is all through the Department of Homeland Security. Our Coast Guard is out doing interdictions on the water. We have stopped enough lethal doses of drugs from coming into this country that would have killed 1.7 billion people. That's what the department has done in conjunction with our law enforcement officers in protecting in just the last 12 months. And the Democrats are saying, nope, we want to play politics and we want to risk the lives of Americans.
Well, if you look at just in the last number of days, we've had murderers, child molesters, an Iranian, national. We have people from over 200 countries. Do we even know the exact number of people that came into this country under Biden-Harris mayorkas?
I'm curious for this answer.
Unvetted from 200 countries?
We don't. It could be up to 15 to 20 million people, but it's not just the numbers, it's also who they let in. We know they let terrorists into this country. Every day, that's what keeps me awake at night, is that I haven't found them yet. I know they're here. We've arrested over 80 people from Iran already. We've arrested over 1,000 people that are on the known and suspected terrorist list just in the last.
All it takes is one terrorist person with a little bit of inclination to do whatever they want to do. And the range, it's anywhere from 15 to 20 million. That range is 5 million people, more than some states have in populations. Think about that. Think of how big a number of 1 million is. And their range of the people that they don't know is 5 million. That's bad. Those 5 million people that they don't even know what the cap is. They don't know how bad the numbers are. And they want to shut this down. And the DHS doesn't just deport people. They stop terrorists. They work on fun. They do so many things to safeguard our country. And they want to shut that down. They want Americans to feel scared and vulnerable is what they want. So Schumer's partial government shutdown. Democrats want to risk the safety of people. So anyways, Noam's safety argument builds the stakes, but here's where it gets interesting. ICE enforcement is actually showing wins on the ground that could change this entire debate. Real Tom Homan on the success in Minnesota. We've got more jails cooperating than ever before in that state. And all it took was Trump threatening them and cutting off some public funds and getting them to play ball. Let's see.
The president sent me up there to do three things: de-escalate, arrest illegal aliens with a priority on criminals and public safety threats, and gain cooperation. For over a decade, I've been talking about sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. So I went up there and talked to, Governor Walz, the AG. I talked to the mayor, and, we had a sit-down discussion. It says, if you don't want all these ICE agents in your city and your state, then let us send them to jail. The reason there's so many people on the street is because one agent can arrest one bad guy in the safety and security of a jail, which is safer for the agent, safer for the alien, and safer for the community. But they want to release them. When they release them, now a whole fugitive ops team, 6 men, need to go find this person. And because of all the hate and the rhetoric from the left and members of Congress, now we got to send a security team to protect the ops team. So now we got 12, 13 people doing the job that would have took one agent into jail. I think they listen to us. They obviously listen to us. We got more jails cooperating than ever before in that state. We got the state cooperation in prisons, and we got the local police, the Minneapolis police, responding to public safety threats.
It's crazy that we have a supremacy clause in the U.S. Constitution that says federal law will always supersede state law. Meaning, for the last 249 years of our nation existing, we were allowed, the federal government was allowed to do what the federal government needed it to do, because that's their job. Anything not designated to the federal government is reserved to the states. Cool. That's a very strong counterbalance where that's at. But the federal law is there for a reason, and the Constitution backs that up at every single level. And Trump has won the majority of Supreme Court cases, saying he does have absolute authority to do what he needs to do under Article 3 or section, I think it's Article 1 of the Constitution or Article 3. Forgot which one. Correct me in the comments. But we need to do it. And these governors in these states, they know if they lose that population, they're going to lose federal funding for the homelessness. They're going to lose money from the state's budget coming out to go towards the health care for these people, along with 1,000 other things and congressional appointments and how many they lose population, they're going to lose congressional seats. So many things tie into this. The Democrats have to die on the Hill. They have to. This is it for them. But Homan's success story in Minnesota sets up the ultimate political choice that Secretary Noam is about to lay out for voters. Let's see. Americans are going to have a choice coming up here. They can choose the Democrats' mass migration and infiltration of criminals, or they can continue to choose President Trump, who's making our country safe again and making it affordable for families. Let's see.
Yeah, it's shocking to me, Sean, to hear them constantly speak on behalf of politics instead of the American people. And Americans are going to have a choice coming up here if they want to choose the Democrats' mass migration and infiltration of criminals, but not just criminals. We have thousands of known and suspected terrorists that the Biden administration let into this country. Or they can continue to choose President Trump, who's making our country safe again, who's making it more affordable for families to get into homes and to buy their groceries and put gas in their car. He's giving them safety back in their communities, and that's what the Department of Homeland Security does every single day. What Democrats have done by defunding this department is put our safety at risk right here on our own soil. We every day protect people in their communities, but also our cybersecurity is all through the Department of Homeland Security. Our Coast Guard is out doing interdictions on the water. We have stopped enough lethal doses of drugs from coming into this country that would have killed 1.7 billion people. That's what the department has done in conjunction with our law enforcement officers in protecting in just the last 12 months. And the Democrats are saying, no, we want to play politics and we want to risk the lives of Americans.
And that's what the purple-haired, the LBG2B, all the alphabet soup mafia people that are out there, all the people, the crazy hair, the septum piercings, they don't understand that Trump is making their lives safer too. He's not doing it just for conservatives. He's not doing this for the people that are probably going to vote for him. He's doing this equally for every American because he knows that he wants to protect Americans. He doesn't care if you agree with him or not. He wants you to be safe. He wants you to go out there, and if you want to protest, go protest. Do so peacefully. It's your right as an American. It's also your God-given right to be safe inside of the country that you live in. And that's elected officials' first responsibility to anybody that they represent. Protect your people. And anytime that you have these governors like J.B. Pritzker, Tim Walz, and others that would rather release these violent offenders back into society instead of taking them out, look how many repeat offenders got let go and let go and let go because they don't want Trump to deport the people. It's disgusting what they're doing. Trump wants it fair and equitable for everybody and keep them all safe equally. But the truth is crystal clear. Democrats would rather see Americans victimized by criminal aliens than admit Trump was right about immigration. They're not fighting for principles. They're fighting to maintain the chaos that helps keep them politically. This shutdown isn't about funding levels or policy details. It's about whether Americans will choose safety or virtue signaling. So Secretary Kristi Noem put it perfectly. Americans have a choice. We can choose a Democrats' mass migration and infiltration of criminals, or we could choose President Trump, making our country safe again. The Democrats are showing you exactly who they are. Politicians who will hold America's security hostage to protect foreign criminals from deportation, not even American citizens. 6 days of putting criminal aliens above American citizens. 6 days of choosing chaos over safety. And the question isn't whether this is wrong. It's whether you'll remember this betrayal come November. So will you stand with the party that puts America first? If so, let us know in the comments. But check out the Next News merch shop and let everybody know where you stand and wear your Next News gear with pride. I always try to figure out where that button is. Gary, you coming in to say hi again? He's over there now. We're between segments. You should come say hi to the chat.
I'm not going to disrupt anything anymore?
No, you're not disrupting anything. What's up, Gary? He's hiding back here. This guy. Oh, that side. There he is. We're just getting through. We got some super chats coming in. Gary's back in town safely. You want to swap in the chair?
No.
Get back in the saddle?
No, not right now.
He's
I'll save it for Monday, dude.
Oh, you've been crammed in a plane for how many hours?
It was 5 hours.
And
then
then
4.5 in the plane, and then
the ride back from there?
an hour from O'Hare, and then they can't see me. How do they see me?
Let's see. You can go to this one. Maybe clean. Oh, you're not even in it. We'll go over to the chat here in a second. Gary's saying hi.
Hey guys, how you doing? No, yeah. I'm finishing up this edit right now.
The music video is pretty cool.
Let's see, where are we at? There. I'm taking over the show. Yeah, you like the music video? That's coming out tomorrow. I got to get this video out first.
Well, maybe. Uh-oh. We got also. It's coming back.
Yeah, I got to get this one video out that I'm working on right now.
We're about to talk about the Chicago Bears leaving Chicago after we get to a couple super chats.
Oh, do you want me to order you some food? Or maybe get some,
what are you guys getting food from?
I was thinking about getting some
This is a very important decision. We're getting
Chicken?
food real quick.
Like some chicken skewers from like Lao Tao.
Sure. Yeah. Throw
You
something.
like that?
Yeah, I'll eat whatever.
Or something
I'm an
else?
equal opportunity eater. I'm in. So I'll eat it. I'll smash
It's
it.
good with the peanut sauce, you know.
Yeah, I'm in. Sold. Brian, can you bring us back to where it's got the chat on there? Let's see. I'm going to hit the buttons. There it is. I figured it out. All right, guys, we're back in gear now. All right, so we have a super chat that came in from Craig. $10 says, Nebraska reporting for duty. Thanks, new dude, for a great show. All caps are back, baby. I saw you guys doing. I was going to speak in all caps the whole time because I saw you guys talking about speaking in caps. So I'm going to speak in all caps through this. Now, it'll get annoying pretty quick. Everybody's saying MAGA forever from Jeanette Johnson. Glad he is safe from Clifford Johnson about Gary. Sup, Gary? Fight from Copo 801. Everybody's saying hi, Gary. He said, yeah, hi. So he's all excited. He must be tired. I couldn't imagine being on a plane for that long. All right, I'm going to pop back through a few of these here, then we'll get set up to it. We're talking about the Bears. Everybody was on it yesterday asking me what I thought about the Bears. You're going to hear all about it here in a few seconds. All right. All right, keep up the all caps, guys, because it's cracking me up between segments here. So as I was reading through the comments to see if I was doing anything crazy. Chicago Bears have been based there for over 100 years. Yes, I know. I've been a Bears fan since I was born. My Uncle Dave was a very big Bears fan, and he made sure that the first words I learned were the Chicago Bears as soon as I was old enough to talk. I remember watching them in all the cool playoff games and all the good stuff. So, all right. I'm going to get into it, Gare. Bri, what do you think?
What segment are you on?
Topic 3. Yeah. Oh, topic 4. Sorry, it wasn't loaded. T4. Give me 1 second, guys. The Chicago Bears are literally running away from their own city, and Democrat Mayor Brandon Johnson is scrambling to explain why a football team won't stay in this crime-infested, high-taxed, crap-hole wasteland of a city. When your city is so broken that a franchise worth billions of dollars would rather move to Indiana than deal with your failed leadership, you know something catastrophic is happening in America's heartland. So this isn't just about football. This is about the complete collapse of a Democrat-run city, and especially other cities across America. Chicago, the once proud home of the Chicago Bears for over a century, has become so dangerous and poorly managed that even iconic sports franchises are fleeing. They built their stadium after World War I, Soldier Field. Think about it. But Mayor Johnson claims there's clearly evidence that the Bears should stay. But the only clear evidence here is that the policies have turned Chicago into an unlivable nightmare. And when businesses, families, and now sports teams are all heading for the exodus, that's not coincidence. That's consequences. And the Bears' potential move to Indiana isn't just a slap in the face to Chicago. It's a warning shot to every American city about what could happen when you elect radical Democrat socialists who prioritize woke ideology over basic public safety and economic stability. And speaking of major moves happening right under our noses, there's another story breaking tonight that most people completely missed. Breaking news is breaking quietly, and most people missed it. While headlines focused on the Bears fleeing Chicago, the Trump administration just released a document that could fundamentally reshape the U.S. mining sector. This is real, and it's unfolding right now under Executive Order 14241. This goes far beyond typical policy changes. We're talking about a complete transformation of how America sources critical materials. The timing is not coincidental. As cities like Chicago crumble under Democrat leadership and tax burdens, Trump is quietly building the foundation for American energy independence. Vizsla Copper has been tracking these developments, and what they've uncovered is staggering. While mayors like Brandon Johnson drive businesses away, smart investors are positioning themselves in the sectors Trump is prioritizing. So this isn't speculation anymore. It's happening. The question isn't whether this will reshape America's mining future, but whether you'll be ready for it when it does. The patterns are clear. Democrat cities are collapsing while Trump policies create real opportunities, which just brings us right back to Chicago. But here's the twist that nobody's talking about. Rachel Nichols, hardly a conservative voice in honesty, is absolutely destroying the Bears' ownership, saying if they can't afford to keep the team in Chicago, they should sell it. Even liberal sports media is admitting that abandoning Chicago is a desperate move. Meanwhile, Governor Pritzker is literally kicking field goals and publicity stunts trying to save face. The desperation is real, and it's getting pathetic. Let's get into it. Guys, I live in this area, and I can tell you what, I have been so upset that the Chicago Bears are getting ready to go, but I understand. I understand what's happening. I don't go to Chicago unless my life depends on it. And then when I do go to Chicago, my life literally depends on it. So it is what it is. From Bob the Builder, somebody should tell Democrats in Chicago that President Trump is not running against them. They should talk about failing schools, high crime rates, and homelessness and high taxes instead. Let's see.
Trump. Vote Juliana.
Fuck Trump. Vote Juliana.
Fuck Trump. Vote Juliana.
They said it, not me. I'm Juliana Stratton, and I'm proud to have lived my whole life on the south side of Chicago. I'm not scared of a wannabe dictator. I'm running for Senate to stand up to Donald Trump. I'll abolish ICE and hold Trump accountable for the crimes he's committed. Just like they said, fuck
Trump.
Fuck Trump.
Fuck Trump.
Vote Juliana.
That's why I approve this message.
I want to apologize about the language. I know the language would be included in that, but that is Julia Stratton. Illinois is Illinois' lieutenant governor that she's running for U.S. Senate. And that is one of her first major campaign ads, and everything was F Trump. That's insane. Like, are we at the point in America where language doesn't matter? And I do apologize. I did not know there was going to be language in that, or I would have prefaced that for you. So we try to cut those out over here. So I am sorry for that. So this sets up the broader context of Democrat leadership failures in Chicago, which perfectly leads into businesses' exodus story we're about to see. All right, so we had McDonald's leave Chicago. We had Citadel leave Chicago. We had Caterpillar. There was a Boeing that was here, United Airlines. Now the Chicago Bears, plus 100 other major companies. Chicago is surprisingly a major corporate center. But the Magnificent Mile is mostly empty. It's insane. From the Washington Free Beacon, yet another business may pick up and leave the high tax, high regulation, high crime nightmare, otherwise known as the state of Illinois. Thank you, JB Pritzker. There's the NFL's Chicago Bears. Let's see. So it says Indiana Governor Mike Braun announced Thursday that a framework had been reached to move the Bears about 20 miles. It's literally 20 miles away. Hammond, Indiana is right across the border. So let's see. Annual net domestic migration of single establishment firms for Illinois, meaning businesses. In 1995, we lost 76. And then as soon as you get over to 2020, right when JB Pritzker came in, 2018, we show that there was 110 that came out first year, 102 businesses, 137 major corporations, 155, 209, 260, 218. We're getting desperate in Illinois, and they keep raising the taxes because they lost all the corporate tax structure from the people they kicked out. So they have to raise property taxes in order to make up the deficit, which is why the Chicago Bears are not wanting to stick around. So now we have concrete examples of that failed leadership. The Bears are actually leaving. And here comes a local reaction from Illinois residents. From Millard, run like hell from that poop hole, crime-ridden Chicago, and God's speed. And I live in Illinois. Illinois lawmakers push back on Chicago Bears. Bringing up an Axios article, we could probably pop into that super quick. So essentially this article is going to break down that Illinois was set to vote the morning, which was yesterday, to give a tax incentive to the Chicago Bears. They bring in billions of dollars of revenue to the state of Illinois through people coming in and tickets being sold and a whole bunch of other ancillary things that happen with that, including bar sales, things like that. And they canceled it right before the Chicago Bears were supposed to go in. Brandon Johnson said he reached out to the Chicago Bears as well to try to keep him here, and they ignored his phone call. And then they announced they were resuming talks with Indiana. So the residents' frustration with crime sets up the political blame game that's about to unfold between state officials. And they say no crime problem in Chicago, according to Pritzker. I can tell you, firsthand knowledge, there's crime everywhere. I don't let my kids go to Chicago. I don't let any of my friends go there unless they're protected. And this is why. Let's see.
Damn, 12 times. Come on, cuz. Real J. They know what's going on, though.
And this is one video. This is all over the place. This happens all over the city of Chicago. And if you don't have a concealed carry in Illinois, you are not in the right frame of mind.
Really are. Through this bitch doing anything over 25, we find it up. We come our way, it's more than 150 come.
And there's no fear for them doing this because they know Brandon Johnson. They know the city of Chicago is not going to arrest them. Do you use facial ID on these people? Figure it out. Those are all illegal weapons. Illinois wants to restrict people having Second Amendment rights, but then they don't do anything for this. It only affects law-abiding gun owners. That's why you got to join the Illinois State Rifle Association to help protect your rights. So Pritzker's denial of the crime problem transitions perfectly from how he's mishandling the Bears negotiations. For my friend Rick Heidner, I was asked about the Chicago Bears in Indiana this morning on CBS Chicago. He's running for governor. J.B. Pritzker's fumbling this deal. Now it's going to cost a lot more money to try and keep them there.
I would be remiss in light of the current headlines. How do you feel about the Bears potentially leaving the state of Illinois? And is there a place in state government to work to try to keep the team here?
So I've been saying this for months, and honestly now, all of a sudden, there's an epiphany for him to have. 326 acres is a city inside of a city. Not only do we get the stadium, and then we'll get the Super Bowl, and we'll get all kinds of concerts. You're talking about hotels and restaurants and bars. Arlington Heights is a city inside of a city. And we're going to get a fuel center, and we're going to get unbelievable tax dollars. So to now come up, after 3 years, the Bears have owned that property. I've said it'd be half built if I was governor. That property would be half built. Now we've opened Pandora's box into Indiana. We are in this horrible position. It's going to cost us way more money. And the Bears have rented for 100 years. I'm a businessman. They deserve to own their own property. This is a mega project besides the stadium for our state. And again, build, give them incentive, get a tremendous amount of tax, give them some of that back, okay? I've done it my whole life. You know, we lose the Bears. We're not at zero. We're at a huge negative because we lose everything that they've already produced for us. Instead, if we do this over here, we're at a huge positive. You know, 0 from 0 is 0.
Right.
Half or 3/4 of a lot is a lot.
So
okay?
you have some strong opinions about that.
Oh, it's simple for me. I said I could have gotten a room with them. I wouldn't have had to hire some company from New York to negotiate this. One week, 2 weeks in a room, I could have had this done. Absolutely. All they ever wanted was the infrastructure money. And what does our government do? What does Illinois do? What does Oh, you have to pay off our debt, $523 million. They're renters. They're obligated to pay their lease. They're not obligated to pay your mortgage.
Rick Heidner, we could talk much more about this subject alone and many, many others, I know.
Yes.
But I really appreciate you being here.
No, thank you so much.
So that's what it comes down to. The Bears were going to be spending $2.5 billion out of pockets. So that's how much it costs for them to build a new stadium with a dome, and it's a sad fact that it's going to be a dome. They were going to go to Arlington Heights, Illinois, and they were going to spend $3.2 billion in Illinois to build it, or $2.5 billion in Indiana. So they asked the state legislature of the state of Illinois to help make up that $700 million difference. And that's what the whole fight was about. It was over $700 million. Instead, you go to Indiana and it's not organized. You still have to use some union labor, but Chicago is 100% union. That's where the $700 extra million came in, on top of the property taxes and everything else that goes into it. And that's why the Bears chose a little bit differently. So the criticism Pritzker's fumbling leads directly to more pointed attacks on his competence and political future. J.B. Pritzker is running for president, guys. If you want this nationwide, make sure we do our best to get some people elected that'll embarrass him and hopefully never let him do it. So J.B. Pritzker is now taking shots at the Bears for wanting to move out of the cesspool of Chicago and relocate to Indiana. He's lost his state's most valuable sports team due to incompetence. His presidential hopes are completely cooked now, and he knows it.
A surprise to us. The Bears actually, yesterday, we completed more than 3 hours, my team did, of discussions with the Bears. Very positive discussions, and indeed mostly agreed on a bill that would move forward this morning. But they asked us not to move forward with it this morning because they said they wanted to tweak a couple of items in the bill, which were things that we were working with them on. And so to have a statement put out by the Bears, now they're saying to us that that statement is not some confirmation that they're moving to Indiana, but rather that Indiana had asked them to say that, you know, they're going to move forward with the negotiations in Indiana. But I have to say it's very disappointing to hear that they would put that statement out but not say anything about the advancement that's been made in the state of Illinois. But, you know, we're waiting to hear from the Bears what they'd like to do next.
It was a nice little spin he put on it, right? He's like, oh, no, they didn't say they were going to. They put out a statement on it. Indiana confirmed. Everybody knows what they're trying to do, okay? They screwed up. Brandon Johnson messed up. J.B. Pritzker screwed up so bad. They lost the Chicago Bears. That's like saying the Green Bay Packers are going to move out to Minnesota. It's crazy. It's a crazy. But the competence criticism escalates as we bring in a major political voice with even harsher condemnation of Pritzker's priorities. Laura Ingram's coming back. So our Nepo baby billionaire governor just got outplayed. From real Rod Blagojevich, our friend here at the Next News Network, when he got out of prison, he did a fundraiser with Next News Network to support me running for state senate. It was a blast. His first political appearance after he got out of jail. Wonderful time. And guess who pardoned him? Trump. So let's see here. He spent $3 billion on illegal immigrants, but he can't help out with $600 million on a stadium. Let's see.
Gov, who's to blame here? Pritzker or the Bears? The Bears, the fool.
Well, our Nepo baby billionaire governor just got outplayed by the governor of Indiana. I wish I was still governor because the Bears would never leave. And Pritzker was outplayed because his priorities are all wrong. His priorities are all about fighting law enforcement. It's fight law enforcement when it comes to protecting illegal immigrants, and tens of thousands of whom are violent criminals. Why? Because he is pandering and servicing the lunatic fringe and the Bolshevik majority that has now taken over the Democrat Party. It's no accident that the Bears want to leave Chicago and in Illinois because, like the other businesses you pointed out, nearly 1 million people have left Illinois since he's been the governor. And since he's been the governor, he's raised taxes and fees more than 50 times on the people of this state, spent nearly $3 billion on illegal immigrants. His priorities reflect this new Democrat Party. And the Chicago Bears fan base are traditional, hardworking, working people, blue collar. Right. The people the old school Democrats used to stand for, but this new school Democrats with this Nepo baby Bolshevik billionaire are pandering to the crazy left wing and doing it at the expense of working people. And as a result of that, we may lose our beloved Bears. And it's really reprehensible.
Reprehensible is an understatement. It's embarrassing. And it's so badly mismanaged that one of the most iconic things in Chicago, Soldier Field, they wanted to change the name of Soldier Field. It was there to represent World War I veterans who fought overseas to help free the world. They tried doing that about 10 years ago because they don't like veterans, nor do they like cops. It's scary. But Blagojevich's policy criticism transitioned to legislative reality. The Bears deal is actually moving forward despite Illinois leadership. From the Illinois Review, good friends over there, the Chicago Bears just moved one step closer to building a new stadium in Indiana. SB 27 advances their plan for a world-class venue in Hammond near Wolf Lake, and they're praising Indiana leaders for getting it done. If you guys can, go on X, follow the Illinois Review, or on Facebook. The Chicago Bears one step closer to a new stadium in Indiana. Let's see, failed leadership from Governor Pritzker closed. It's a good pick. So as the deal advances to Indiana, we shift to the cultural impact and what this means for Bears identity. So Jim Rome, even Jim Rome's winning. That's pretty crazy. Indiana Bears of Chicago? How does that grab you? Adam Rink at the after hour. Let's see.
I sort of kind of like the sound of it. The Indiana Bears of Chicago. Or if you prefer, the Chicago Bears of Indiana. It's not done. Or I'm not saying it's done. It's not done. But it might be soon. It never looked more real than it looks right now. So having said that, let me break out something that my Boston-bred old man Jay used to always say to me when he was getting ready to drop some bomb on me that he knew that I hated. And I quote, "How's that grab you, Jimmy? How's that grab you?" Hey, Adam, how does the Bears playing in Indiana grab you, Adam? How's that grab you? How's that grab you? Hey, Adam, what's up? How's that grab you?
What's going on?
How's that
How
grab
does
you?
it grab you?
The Indiana Bears of Chicago. How's that grab you?
Well, listen, if they're gonna have to be referred to as the Indiana Bears of Chicago, then it'll be the LA Rams of Inglewood, the Las Vegas Raiders of Paradise, the New York Jets of East Rutherford. What about, and it's one of those, the San Francisco 49ers of Santa Clara. It's just one of those things, like, these are the way NFL owners operate. They don't care. They literally don't care. Like, I have a history. When I went to Chicago this year to go watch a game at Soldier Field, because I'm like, who knows how long we're going to continue to play here. You know, there was something about walking around that place. This is where my parents walked. They went to this stadium, or what's left of this stadium, but they walked these grounds. I'm sure that they passed this ticket booth. They've done all these things. And NFL owners are like, yeah, but how much can we get for a skybox? Can we host a Super Bowl? and then you figure out what's really important to them, and you realize this is the cost of doing business. And if the lawmakers in Illinois are going to
Adam, it's a great story and it's moving, but if it'll make you feel better, your kids are going to walk around in Indiana, so you have that.
Yeah, if they care, they don't even care. Like, the Bears are like so far down on their list of priorities.
You know, but it's a lot safer over in Hammond, Indiana. I'll say that. I'd bring my kids to that Bears game instead of going to Soldier Field for it. The identity question leads to broader reactions about Chicago's crime ranking and comparisons to other cities. From Tim Evans, I 100% love it. It's Rachel Nichols. I love the move. Chicago ranks 38 out of the 50th largest cities, indicating higher crime levels compared with many large cities nationwide. Get popping on the getting Jets and Giants back to New York, and then we could talk. Let's make it smile. Go Lions.
The idea of a team whose ownership is worth $1.5 billion.
Oh, I don't know why the audio's not going. I'm definitely not going to narrate it.
Instead of staying in Chicago for tax money just blows
Brian, can you pull the
mind.
audio
These are
to
the
two
Chicago
channels?
Bears. You know the two stadiums that the Chicago Bears have played with in their history?
All right, we're going to back out of this, guys. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I definitely can't hear it. So we're going to get to the next one here. Sometimes that happens, guys. It's a live show. We got to just roll with it. Public reaction builds to desperate attempts by Illinois to leverage the situation. So let's see here. From God JB Pritzker. I love this account. God JB Pricker. I love this account so much. Here's my attempt to keep the Chicago Bears from leaving Illinois and giving Indiana 2 teams and none in Arlington Heights. We have JB Pritzker kicking a field goal. Let's see.
Pritzker lines up for the potential game winner. The kick is away. Oh, it's wide right and short. No good. Pritzker can't believe it. He's completely dejected.
He's most certainly no Robbie Gold. That's clearly AI, but it's hilarious. So individual desperation transitions from political response from Chicago's mayor trying to save face. Okay, Brandon Johnson, he's the mayor of Chicago. He's a devout communist. He's all about, raising taxes and not protecting people. They have a system in Chicago called Spot Shotter or Shot Spotter. So like if the gunshot goes off, they can triangulate the location and then send over police there right away. So they know, boom, 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 shots happen. Let's get our people there. Let's keep our citizens safe. He said it was racist and they removed it. Think about that for a second. He doesn't care about safety. He cares about optics. But he tried to cover this up. Let's see. Democrat Mayor Brandon Johnson is upset that the Chicago Bears are leaving Chicago for Indiana. Says there's clear evidence for why they should stay. And he's got the best evidence I've ever heard. It's such a good argument. You guys are going to love this. Just watch. It's so good.
Is my face straight?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Keep a straight face here. Straight. The Bears belong in the city of Chicago. The Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago, right? And I've said repeatedly that the door is always open for conversations, Kevin Warren did call me yesterday. We didn't get a chance to connect, and I still firmly believe that their best position is in Chicago, and it's evidence. The evidence is clearly speaking for itself.
The evidence. What evidence? You said the evidence was the name Chicago in the Bears' name. That's it. That was his evidence. But he had to make sure, okay, I'm going to say this with a straight face. It's a straight face. He's got to line up for it. Okay, guys. He spends one day a week inside the hospital for panic attacks and stuff like that instead of being the mayor of Chicago. This guy clearly has no idea what's going on. And Lori Lightfoot was one of the worst mayors we've ever had. But this guy's worse. And one thing she said before she left office, if you think I'm bad, wait till you see this guy. And I will rarely ever be quoted as saying Lori Lightfoot was right because, dear God, was she a horrible mayor. But she wasn't wrong about Brandon Johnson. The guy, he's at like an 8% approval rating. 8%. And it's because he doesn't know what he's doing. And he just lost the Chicago Bears. You're the mayor of Chicago. That's should be one of your top things that you got to take care of. But Mayor Johnson's defensive response set up the final revelation about how toxic the political environment in Illinois has become. From Paul A. Sipspula, Illinois governor called President Trump a Nazi today during Pritzker's State of the State speech. Democrats are making the same lame attacks against Trump, and they did during his first term, in that they are expecting a different result. Remember yesterday when one of the fake news reporters was on TV and he's like, hey, when have we ever called, President Trump's been racist? He says this, and they've tried to level. That's never happened. They've never done it. Caroline's like, wait, are you kidding me? You really didn't do that? And JB Pritzker's calling to bring down rhetoric. So, the political temperature is too high. Bring down rhetoric. By the way, Trump's a Nazi. All of his followers are fascists. And then, ICE agents are kidnapping American citizens. He speaks out of both sides of his mouth, just like typical politicians.
We don't have kings in America, and I don't intend to bend the knee to one. If you think I'm overreacting and sounding the alarm too soon, consider this. It took the Nazis 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes to dismantle a constitutional republic. And all I'm saying is that when the 5-alarm fire starts to burn, every good person better be ready to man a post with a bucket of water if you want to stop it from raging out of control.
Oh, big talk from big guy. He was talking about taking a knee. If he took a knee, his leg would probably shatter. You guys see how he looks, right? Anyways, we're going to get back away from the identity politics. This is coming from the same guy who used such strong... We had the longest lockdowns in the entire country. The entire country. We were locked down every day. City of Chicago looked like a ghost town. You couldn't get a job. You couldn't work anywhere unless you had those little specific cards. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. And then they fired people. They're kicking kids out of schools. You can't pray to God. You can't say God in the classrooms. You want to talk about draconian measures? You are it, JB. You are the thing that our founding fathers warned against. And billionaires think they could do whatever. He thinks he controls the state. He owns it. We've had the highest property taxes, the highest criminal burden in the country. People get killed. He's letting illegals drive CDLs that are killing people every single day. They just did cashless bail in Illinois. You want to know why the Bears left? Because there's no accountability for crime. Taxes are too high, and they need to go somewhere where they know their fans are going to be safe and they're able to make money. That's it. And here's the bottom line that nobody wants to say out loud. The Chicago Bears are doing what millions of Americans are doing. They're fleeing a Democrat-run disaster zone for red states that actually function. Indiana isn't just getting a football team. They're getting $1 billion symbol of Chicago's complete and total failure under its progressive leadership. The Bears leaving Chicago isn't just a sports story. It's a perfect metaphor for the exodus from Democrat-controlled cities happening across America. Illinois lost 2 congressional seats because 1.2 million people fled the state for more tax-friendly environments. And when even century-old institutions would rather abandon their history than deal with progressive policies, that tells you everything you need to know about which political philosophy is actually working. And Chicago had over 100 years to prove they deserved the Chicago Bears, and Brandon Johnson's administration couldn't even keep them for 100 days of serious negotiations. Give me 1 second. That's not good. So this is what happens when you prioritize social justice over public safety, when you chose woke politics over basic governance. And do you think the Bears are making the right call by leaving Chicago's Democrat disaster zone? Let me know in the comments. And while you guys are there, check out the Next News merch shop for gear that celebrates the America First values that actually build successful cities instead of destroying them. Teleprompter went crazy there at the end. I was like, oh my God, where did we go? It was a bit nuts. Yeah, can you believe Chicago's losing the Bears? Like, Chicago Bears. Like, I almost got a Bears tattoo when I turned 18. A good thing I didn't put Chicago Bears in front of just the logo. But I have not watched any NFL game since 2020. I've watched bits and pieces of it. Ever since they started kneeling for the national anthem, I could just care less. I don't care if the Chicago Bears were going to win the Super Bowl. I watched 30 seconds of their playoff game. That's it. Because they still don't care. They don't. The whole NFL is discussing what they did with Bad Bunny during the Super Bowl halftime show, all in Spanish. And and if it was in English, you would have had to have censored his entire song. The NFL doesn't care about America anymore, and I hope that comes back. Because I don't know, let me know in the comments. I want to see it in the stream, guys. How many people have watched football games recently, and how many people stopped because of what they did for the kneeling of the national anthem and disrespecting our soldiers, our troops, our president, everything that's been American. Michael Fiacco says, get ready for GOP in Illinois. Yes, we need it. We need to do it. I saw somebody said they lived in Geneva, but they're in DuPage County. Welcome locally. I'm in Will County, so I'm not too far from you, and hopefully we get to run across each other at some cool political event someday. We got Salty National saying, shut up, Prickster. And Pritzker should be removed from office from James Fay. Couldn't agree. Mad Max. If you can't achieve, get a weave. If your hair ain't big, get a wig from Millennium 75. And then Copo 801 says, whatever happened to bleeping Miss Lightfoot? She's gone. She's out. She lost her re-election. And she was terrible. She was really bad. She was our mayor during COVID, and she was wearing like superhero outfits and stuff. But you know what? She did say that, JB, if you think I'm bad, Brandon Johnson's going to be worse. And she wasn't wrong. And it sucks that she was right. But man, I almost want her back. I want Mayor Daley back. So what else we got here? Gary Hag says, yes, good for the Bears. Would have been great if they moved to Arlington Racetrack. Yes, I wanted them in Arlington Heights. The traffic's better. The expressways getting in are better. Like, if you guys don't know, when you go to Soldier Field, you have to drive all the way through traffic on 294 or 55. You get into it. Then you got about 3 hours of traffic on Lakeshore Drive because it's right on Lake Michigan. Arlington Heights is very much easier for everybody to get to. And somebody said that would have been a bad tattoo. Good thing I didn't get it, right? I couldn't agree more. Salty Nationals don't give a crap about it. And L. Davis says, I'm with you, Tom. No NFL anymore for me. I quit all support when Kaepernick took a knee. Yes, that's it. That's exactly the point. They all started kneeling for the national anthem. It's America. It's an American sport. Like, let's go. Let's do this. All right, we got aliens coming up. We have aliens. It's going to be fun. And yeah, it's one of my favorite topics to get into. So President Trump just issued one of the most explosive executive orders in modern history. Full declassification of every single UFO, alien, and extraterrestrial file that the deep state has been hiding for you for decades. Not just the files, the technology and associated files with it. I think we're about to see a revolution. But the betting markets are going absolutely insane right now, and what we're about to show you will change everything you thought you knew about government secrecy. So this isn't just about little green men, folks. This is about the biggest cover-up in human history, potentially coming to an end like now. For 70 years, shadowy bureaucrats have used your tax dollars to investigate phenomena they refuse to share with you. Military pilots have been silenced and witnesses have been discredited. Entire programs have operated in the darkness while Congress was kept in the dark. Now Trump is ripping away the veil and demanding full transparency. And if aliens exist, you're about to find out. And if the government has been lying to you about recorded technology or recovered technology, crashed vehicles, or contact with non-human intelligence, it's all going to come out. The deep state is probably in full panic mode right now as we're talking about this. So speaking of government secrecy, there's something else the establishment does not want you to know about. Breaking tonight, while Wall Street fixates on gold, silver, and headline commodities, there's a strategic metal quietly driving defense policy, military procurement, and geopolitical planning behind the scenes. It's not flashy, and most investors never talk about it. But governments and defense contractors are stockpiling it like their national security depends on it, because guess what? It does. From advanced radar systems to missile guidance technology, this metal is absolutely critical to America's military superiority. Yet most Americans have never heard of it. And while the media distracts you with conventional precious metals, the smart money is positioning in the resources that actually power our defense infrastructure. And SAGA Metals has the inside track on these strategic opportunities that Wall Street doesn't want you to discover. So don't let the establishment keep you in the dark about real strategic investments. We're going to get back to this UFO bombshell. So here's what makes this even more incredible, folks. Congresswoman Nancy Mace has been demanding exactly this disclosure for a long, long time. She wrote letters to the Pentagon, CIA, NSI, and the DNI in October, calling out the ridiculous redacted documented games. And she's been doing this since before that. But she also said secrecy breeds distrust while openness fosters understanding. And now Trump is delivering exactly what she demanded. And the prediction markets are giving us a 21% of confirming alien existence before 2027. I think that shot up way higher than what that was, because I think the market showed like 84% this morning. So that might be a little out of foes. Let's see. So from Watcher.guru, it says, just in, President Trump orders government to release classified files on aliens, UFOs, extraterrestrial life, and unidentified aerial phenomena. And I love that they use that picture of him, because he's like, yeah, it's about to come your way, folks. You know, the Bible even has UFOs in it in Daniel. There's a lot of stuff all over the place for history. Even there's cave paintings that show UFOs, the spinning wheels in the sky, all these things. It's been around for a very, very long time. Let's see where this goes. So this breaking news just got personal. Trump is now directly calling out Obama for allegedly leaking classified alien information. And that's what triggered this. We did an alien story earlier in the week, and we talked about Obama's revelation saying that aliens were real. But now President Trump, I think, just kind of verified that. From Nick Sorter, he says, holy crap, President Trump just sent a warning to Barack Obama after Obama said aliens are real. He made a big mistake giving out classified information. But does that mean that it was true? Let's see.
I would love to have China and Russia. They've been invited. Yeah.
Something that got a lot
You
of...
need both. You need all persuasions. No discrimination.
Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it.
Oh, you guys, look at Caroline Levitt's face behind him.
The president can declassify
She's like,
anything that he wants.
like she's just smiling like, oh, he just told you guys.
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
We know illegal aliens are real.
Yeah, illegal. Only illegals. What else?
Based on what you've been told, what do you think happened to...
So him saying that Obama spoke about classified information, he was referring to classified information, kind of confirmed it. And while he was talking, did you guys see Caroline's face in the background? She was like smiling like, oh, you know, he's doing it without doing it because he's not breaking anything. He's the main arbiter of what's even classified or not classified. But Trump's not just talking anymore. He's taking official action by directing government departments to begin the disclosure process. Keyword, disclosure. So how bad were the Epstein files if all this disclosure has to happen in war with Iran? And now they're bringing out aliens. So how bad was the Epstein files? Anyways, that was a one-off. So Popbase says Donald Trump announces he is releasing alien files. And I'm not going to read that little snippet. There is another one that should go with that. Let's see here. There it is. All right. So based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, and unidentified flying objects, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. Now, the things that are connected to this could be technology, could be Velcro. The superconductor came out right after the Roswell crash. There are so many technologies that they say are attributed directly to the UFOs and the ones that we found way back when. There's a lot of stuff out there. And we've got Representative Luna and quite a few other people that are on these committees that are trying to get this information out to the American people because we've been waiting a long time. And you know what? We own the country. We own this. We need to know. But major news networks are picking this up fast, signaling the story has serious mainstream traction. You think? It's like the first time in history we're going to find out we're not alone in the universe. Now, whether they're aliens, interdimensional beings, or demons, or whatever else, because they've been referred to all three. J.D. Vance said they were interdimensional beings or demons, and a few other people said some other stuff. So, like, we don't know what it is. But these guys are read in on it. So from Wow says UFOX, UFO Twitter, Fox News a few minutes ago on aliens and the UFO files.
President Trump says he is directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and other departments to begin releasing files on space aliens and UFOs. This follows former President Obama's comments just this week.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in, what is it?
Area 51?
Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy and they hid it from the President of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
He said they're real. Later on social media, the former president clarified his comment, saying aliens visiting Earth is unlikely. Again, that's not the opposite of real. Senior White House correspondent
He was covering
Peter
up.
Doocy.
He knew he was in trouble.
And Harris, presidents of the United States have one-of-a-kind perspective on this subject. So when one, like Barack Obama, says something sensational like that, it is very helpful to ask another, which is what we did aboard Air Force One.
Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know,
So
see her
aliens are
face
real.
though? Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
That quickly went viral, so then the president announced, based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life. Democrats are giving the president props for that. Congressman Jared Moskowitz says, why would something not real be classified? Oh, and Senator John Fetterman adds this.
That's our point.
I mean, I think life does exist, but how it could find us or how you can explain some of those videos that, that's been released over the couple of years. So for me, now, if President Trump is going to release everything, I think that's fantastic, because I think America, and the world would deserve if
This is the rare issue uniting Republicans and Democrats who all just seem to want to believe.
We want to know.
We have about 10 seconds left. Why would Obama open this up?
Epstein.
I don't know, but it has created an intergalactic incident. We have international incidents all the time. This is an intergalactic incident, Harris, and we will be on top of it.
That's going to get clipped. I've seen your Instagram.
I want to know about the Nikola Tesla stuff that happened too. I want to know where those files are. The FBI confiscated most of his research, and he's the guy that gave us AC power. And he had all sorts of other crazy things too. So, Mr. Trump, if you're watching, please declassify or have the FBI release the documents Nikola Tesla had. But as Trump announces disclosure, eyewitnesses to historic UFO incidents are stepping forward to share their stories. Benny Johnson, our friend, the man who witnessed the first UFO incident officially archived in U.S. history, shares his story as Trump announces alien files release. We are not alone. From Thomas Reed, the large craft that was highlighted pretty well in Unsolved Mysteries and why we saw it so early. Let's see.
The totality of your story. So maybe if you wouldn't mind giving just a little bit of of your background and your experience with what we call UFOs.
Sure. I guess it starts with my mother used to have a 1960s diner up in the Berkshires, and it wasn't too far from Sprague Electric, which ended up making the goodwill message that was left on the moon, and GE and so on and so forth.
Okay, I want to say this before we continue on this for another 30 seconds or so. Every time somebody comes on TV and they want to talk about aliens, like the guy from Ancient Aliens, he's got the crazy hair. If his hair was done nice, it would be so much more credible. You've got a guy talking about a UFO story. He's got big glasses and a hat. I understand who he is, and I respect his story completely. But just dress professionally. It just sounds more professional, looks more credible. Back to it. I'm going to believe his story because I believe it's true. I just wanted to say that because it's something I've thought every time I see these guys. And I'm like, come on, put on a suit. Put on something without the big glasses and looking funny. All right.
And so they were primarily my mother's customers. And so when we had our first sighting in 1967, it made the newspapers. And so that conversation started to be a topic within those customers. Yeah, there it is. Eating in our family's diner. And of course, the Berkshires, let me back up. The Berkshires had a lot of activity. It wasn't just one and done. And so those conversations became, I guess, in some ways, fueled the idea of leaving the goodwill message on the moon by Buzz Aldrin, with Apollo 11. And so some of that idea is credited back to my mother's diner. But with what happened in 69, which is the one everyone pretty much talks about, even though 67 actually made the newspapers, it was a holiday. And there must have been, 250 witnesses, I think they say, that saw this craft or these spheres, if you will, over the Sheffield area. And they were moving in from like Pittsfield and Springfield towards Sheffield and Connecticut. And so we were going on a shortcut home, and we kind of ran right into it. And we came over this old rickety bridge, and my grandmother was the first to notice that there was like a round sphere that was rising from the banks of the Housatonic River. And then my brother was looking to the right. He saw what looked like another sphere off to the right side of the bridge. And so we kind of split them. One stayed low, one rose. And the one that rose, it was like crisp, like a cue ball. It was bright. It was self-illuminating, and it shot these rods of light into the water. And so we kept going, and that one rose up and kind of went in the direction of our car. And then my mother was like, what is that? So she pulls off to the side of the road where there's this waiting area, if you will, for like utility trucks or something like that. And so we were looking for this white sphere. And at that point, what my mother first saw was this large craft that was highlighted pretty well in Unsolved Mysteries. And why we saw it so easily is that first it was like 100 yards in size. And it wasn't shiny and polished. It was pretty much like a turtle shell.
And there's so many stories out there. Like the reason why I believe in aliens is I was like 10, maybe 11 years old. My mom, my twin sister, my little brother were all driving in a car. We lived in Oak Forest, south suburb of Illinois, like Chicago, way south, back when I was a little bit younger. And we're driving and like a plane flew over us, but it was so low you could see the bottom of it, absolutely no noise. And it was just perfectly silent. And we were like, what was that? We thought something was going to hit the top of the car. And we just watched it slowly, like, cruise back through and come back over, completely silent. And like ever since then, I'm like, we can't be alone. And that's one of the things that changed my entire viewpoint on it, because there was no other explanation. I mean, it could have been a military test craft, whatever, but on the south side of Chicago, not likely. I don't know. But congressional Republicans are jumping on this momentum, claiming they've been fighting for this transparency all along. Representative Nancy Mace says tonight President Trump is directing full disclosure of UAP and UFO files. In October, I wrote to the Department of Defense, Central Intelligence Agency, National Security Agency, and the Department of National Intelligence, demanding exactly that. The truth belongs to the American people. Inside of her letter, she is thanking Secretary Tulsi Gabbard and a bunch of others for their actions, and then she is demanding a full release and accountability. With, I think it was co-signed by... she was addressed Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, all those agencies we representative from her office, from the House Armed Services Committee. They are not playing games on this. And if this was ever a time for it to happen, it should be now. So with officials' disclosure coming, UFO researchers worldwide are highlighting their best evidence to support the revelations. I can't wait to see what the government has. Everybody's got these little shaky cell phone videos and stuff. I want to see what the Jets got. I want to see if our high-powered electronics can do. From Chupacabra, this UFO video from Istanbul, Turkey was filmed in 2008, and some argue it's the best video of its kind. Researcher Roger Lear was there when it was filmed. He described exactly what happened and what kind of lens was used.
There is a video from 2008. It certainly is one of the best videos we've ever seen close up of what purports to be a UFO. Do you know anything about that one? It's supposed to be from Istanbul, Turkey.
There's a video which is called a Comburgus video, which is a close-up of a craft. In fact, so close that you can see the occupants. It is 100% real, and I was there as that was filmed. We were on the beach and filming out over the water. The camera that we were using had a 400 millimeter lens on it and an electronic doubler. So as we pushed on the craft, it got more clear and more clear and more clear. And when we centered on it, those are the shots that became famous. Also, I think the audience would like to know that footage was taken by the Cirrus UFO organization to a university in Istanbul, and their optical physicists went over that with a fine-tooth comb, and it was on all the major television broadcasts in Turkey that that was the real McCoy. There was no faking, there was no trickery of the camera. It talked about the reflected light off of the craft, which was coming from the full moon.
Swamp gas and lights from Venus.
The areas where you see the occupants are some kind of a backlighting.
So there was some conjecture regarding that. I think it's the TR-3B that the United States military has. It's like a big giant flying triangle with a big light in the middle. That could have been one of the early iterations of it. And our military has some pretty incredible technology that we don't talk about. The evidence keeps mounting as experts verify more compelling UFO footage from around the globe. From Earth Curated, a pilot from Colombia at an altitude of 12,500 feet filmed footage that's widely regarded as the greatest UFO recording to date, and experts have confirmed it is genuine. Let's see. I remember when that video came out. I don't know if you guys saw, it was like a little orb that flew past his cockpit window. Yeah, there it was. That's a screenshot from it. And who knows who that is? It could be us. It could be the people in Antarctica. It could be aliens. It could be from underwater bases. It could be who knows. Now we're seeing the betting markets react. Traders are putting real money on whether aliens will actually be confirmed. From Polymarket, breaking: Trump orders declassification of all evidence of aliens, UFOs, extraterrestrial life, and unidentified aerial phenomena. 21% chance they're confirmed. And I think this was from, this might be earlier in the day or from yesterday. It's possible it could have been a screenshot that was used from a different date. But it was like 84% when I looked at about 2 o'clock today. So it's at 3.25 million trading volume. That's going to go way higher. Even with Trump's order, Congress has been blocked from these files before. The big question is whether presidential power can break through. He is the ultimate arbiter of what is classified or declassified. And we have Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, one of the champions of this movement, said Congress has already been denied access to the UFO files. So the real question now is whether a Trump-led disclosure changes that. Let's see.
I do not want to do a complete 180 here and talk about UFOs, UAPs, because UFOs used to be the talk of conspiracy theories. Now, really not so much. You participated in the House Oversight Committee's UAP hearing on Wednesday. What was your biggest takeaway? What did you learn that shocked you the most?
Well, fun note, did you know that Matt Gaetz, one of the founding members of the UAP caucus here in Washington, is now going to be the AG? Mike Waltz is now the National Security Advisor, also gavelled in to come to the UAP hearings. So, and then Marco Rubio has been a big advocate for disclosure, and he's now the Secretary of State. And so I think exciting things for our country in that regard. But, you know, look, I've always looked at it through a scientific lens and perspective. You know, when you have many people coming forward from the State Department, from NSA, from different government agencies, from the military, stating that UAPs are real, and then you have this aspect of technological advancements. For us, it is a national security issue to ensure that we know what's happening, but also, too, I think it's silly from a mathematical perspective and also a religious perspective to think that human beings are the only creation that God did create. And so, as you know, we have a big galaxy, and there's many galaxies out there. And so to put it in perspective, do I think we're alone? No. Am I very curious? Yes. Has it been fun to kind of help tailor and conduct these committees? Absolutely. And I think we're going to continue to push forward with more committees here into the 119th Congress. But what I will state is yesterday, you know, was I a little bit disappointed in some of the responses from the witnesses? Yes, we got some great stuff. But, you know, I'm not interested in hearing about people's books. I'm interested in hearing about whether or not people can answer the questions, because we are trying to get this into the archive so that people have access to the information. And so I wish there was a little less pitching and more talking.
So where are you going to push this issue next? What do you think is the biggest question that you want an answer to?
You know, for me specifically, I always like to look at the evidence previously and then also kind of doing follow-up on what's happening. You know, having Waltz over as the National Security Advisor and then Rubio as the Secretary of State and now Matt as the Attorney General, I'm going to be asking if they have access to files that were previously denied. So that's next on the roster. It helps having a Rolodex that has a lot of people in a lot of important positions now at the head of state.
And it's crazy that the entire Trump administration pretty much is on board with this. After Trump said that tweet out, Pete Hegseth sent out a message, you know, saluting, saying, at your request, sir, we will be doing this immediately. But she talked about technology boom after the Roswell crash in the 1940s. The SR-71 Blackbird, which just came up in the chat. For those of you that don't watch the live show, make sure you catch us live. I'm trying to read, and Gary does too. The SR-71 was from the 1960s. That's 65 years ago, and it's still one of the most fastest airplanes ever. We have things that are so technologically advanced from that, we probably won't know about it for another 30 years. They only declassified the SR-71 in the late 80s or early 90s, and we didn't even know that existed. Imagine what else we know about it. They've been hiding it. We may even have space fleets or something crazy like that. The Obama connection runs deep. Former Trump officials are now explaining how Obama's slip-up reveals the classified nature of this information. From Benny Johnson, former Trump White House press secretary Sean Spicer, I just saw him a few weeks ago at the White House, says Obama slipped up when he revealed the existence of aliens, then immediately tried to change what he said by bringing up Area 51. Anybody that has dealt with classified information, you don't get into stuff like this. Let's see what they say.
Can I take this in a very interesting, different direction?
Please.
what people are missing in this whole, like, and this is just where my brain goes, because I tend to break things down like logically and like what got us here, right? So Obama's on this podcast and he gets asked, is there alien, right? That was the question. Okay, so break this down. What is his response? Yes, period. Now, if you're asking me, do you guys have it? Let's play this. I want you. I don't know if your team can do the sound right away, but I want you to listen to this, because this is what's getting missed in the dialogue. It's not that he's just pontificating, right? Listen to how he says his answer, okay? Because it says yes, then period, and then he pivots to Area 51, as if like he's like, but if you're talking about the location. We weren't talking about the location. We're asking fundamentally, are there aliens? So can we play that? Of
course.
It's at
Couple
Dulles.
questions
It's at
here.
other places.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility.
What
So
about the
you
deep
see that?
underground military bases?
They're real, but he didn't say, look, I can't discuss that, or I haven't seen anything. He says, yes, but I haven't seen them. As if, okay, well, like, you know, I haven't seen a pile of gold, but I know it's real, right? So it's like, yes, it's real, but that was telling, because it wasn't like, look, anyone who's dealt with classified information, and I've been around this now 30 years, you don't get into stuff like that. You obfuscate, you say, look, I can't discuss whether that's real or not, or obviously, you know, I'd access. I mean, this isn't the first rodeo that he's had with feeling something at that level. And again, sometimes people just overlook the obvious, which is he didn't obfuscate. He answered that in the affirmative. Yes, but they're not at Area 51. Okay, I didn't even ask that. Why are you bringing that up? He literally said the quiet part out loud. And then Trump in his response, and again, I brought this up on my show, The Huddle, this morning, and people kind of mocked it. But remember what Trump said, and this was so beautiful on Air Force One. He said, I can't believe he said that. That's classified. Obama just said something that he wasn't supposed to say. And he put himself in a very, very bad situation. And Trump said, so I'll have to declassify it. Obama set himself up for this. And I'm just saying that it's really funny, because I know everyone in DC wants to dismiss it. But go back to what he actually said. Yes, but. And I think that was the big tell.
So he's went out there, gave out classified information. And again, I think this is all in relation to the Epstein file. They have to do something about it, because the information's so bad. They just arrested a prince of England. So they're trying to distract people. Whether or not it's going to come out as true or not true or whatever, don't know. But I want to know about the technology. I want to know about the advancements. I want to know if we're alone in the universe. I mean, God's grand plan for the human race and the people and the entire universe can't just be about our one little planet. He thinks much bigger than that. The most powerful aspect of this story, Trump isn't just asking nicely. He's ordering the full disclosure. No more games, no more heavily redacted pages. We'll have everything blacked out. Although images online have released of the first aliens, and they are black squares in the sky. Those are hilarious. Make sure you look those up. No more bureaucratic stonewalling. The American people funded these programs with their tax dollars, and Trump is saying you deserve to know what you paid for. This could be the moment that everything changes. And this is exactly why we needed Trump back in office. Now, not only has he taken the courage to take on the deep state's most closely guarded secrets, shut down NSA ID, and then drag everything else he can into the sunlight, the establishment decades hiding this information from us, the American people. But Trump is giving you back what's rightfully yours, the truth. Whether we rediscovered alien technology or documented contact with non-human intelligence or just decades of government incompetence, Americans deserve transparency. So do you think Trump's UFO disclosure will finally reveal what the government is hiding from us? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And while you're down there, check out the Next News merchandise shop for gear that shows you're ready for the truth. I'm sad. I'm going to miss you guys. The show's over. It's been 3 hours already. Good Lord. That first one was a little long. The first couple topics were a little long there. But you know what? I want to know about the space fleets. I want to know about all the crazy technology they have. I want to know about the X-3B and all the other things that the American technology we've designed from replicated others. There are underwater UFO bases that Representative Burchett just talked about, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't even want to say on YouTube because there's been other channels have been delisted because of it, like the deep underground military bases. And this would just probably end up being another quarter in the Alex Jones was right jar. Let's get to a couple comments, and then we're going to close out today, guys. It's been a long week, and I think we're all ready for the weekend. So I know a lot of people were in there talking about Obama. Obama does lie a lot, but I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, Obama, he just came out and decided to drop that knowing he was giving away like classified technology, classified information. And then for Trump to say like, oh, well, he gave out classified information, it's kind of confirming that aliens were real, then saying he's going to have to declassify a bunch of stuff to get Obama out of trouble. He hates Obama. He doesn't like Obama. Why would he do that? I think it's because he wanted to the entire time, and now he's got a reason to do that. All right. From L. Davis 2008, Obama did this on purpose. This is all a distraction. I agree. It is a distraction. And it's probably from the Epstein files and a bunch of other things. But hopefully they figure it out. L. Davis, has been it has been a fun week with you guys. And before we go, I'm going to talk to you about becoming a member at subscribing to us and becoming a member at the Next News Network. If you guys can drop those links in the chat here, if you guys want to hang out with us in the after show. And also throughout the day, we got a bunch of conversations and voice chats and video chats going on the Discord. We would love to see everybody there with it. We got our Boyd, we've got Jeremy, we've got Mr. Pothead Kenny, Mrs. Pothead Kenny, we've got Karen, we've got everybody. I keep missing names. I'm not good. We need to put a list of them here. You're our admins and you're our people that help keep this show going, and we value you guys so much. And thank you for everything that you do for our admins and Todd, our producer, and Brian behind the scenes, making sure this all clicks. All right, guys. And there you have it, folks. Tonight we witnessed something extraordinary, a perfect snapshot of exactly why Donald Trump's presidency represents a complete restoration of American greatness. From the Supreme Court's misguided attempt to derail his tariff strategy to his triumphant visit with Georgia steelworkers, to the ongoing Democrat obstruction of border security, to Chicago's spectacular implosion, and finally to the most transparent presidency in American history, declassifying UFO files. Every single story tonight proves the same fundamental truth. Trump delivers results while everybody else delivers excuses. The Supreme Courts think they can slow down the America First economic agenda. Guess what? Trump's already moving to the alternative measures, and he's done so already within minutes. Democrats want to shut down DHS rather than fund ICE. Americans see exactly who's really fighting for their safety. Chicago's political class wants to blame everybody except for themselves for driving the Chicago Bears out of Chicago. The exodus speaks for itself. And while previous administrations spent decades hiding the truth about extraterrestrial phenomena, Trump rips away the curtain and gives Americans the transparency they deserve. And this isn't just about individual policies or political victories. This is about a fundamentally different visions of America and what we should be. Trump's vision is simple. America first, transparency first, workers first, security first, your children first. The establishment's vision and the Democrats' vision, more opacity, more globalism, more excuses for failure, and more illegals coming across our border. And you know what strikes me most about tonight's stories? They are all demonstrate the same core principle that's been driving Trump since day one. The American people deserve better than what the swamp has been serving them for decades. Better trade deals that protect American workers, better border security that keeps families safe, and better governance that doesn't drive businesses fleeing to other states. And yes, better transparency about what our own government has been hiding from us. We need the Nikola Tesla files. We need to know all of it. The Democrats can resist, the courts can obstruct, the media can spin, but they can't stop the fundamental momentum of an America First presidency that actually is delivering on its promises. And every roadblock they throw up just proves Trump's point about how badly the system needed disruption. And remember February 20th, 1962, John Glenn orbiting Earth, proving American excellence doesn't accept second place? That same spirit of bold American leadership is exactly what we're witnessing today. Glenn didn't ask permission from international committees or Russia or whoever, or wait for judicial approval to make history. He simply embodied the American greatness, just like Trump continues doing every single day. But before we go, guys, make sure you grab your gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Support independent media that tells you the truth without filters or apologies. And huge thanks to everybody supporting us through the Super Chat and all of our amazing Rumble Rant contributors. You guys all make the show possible, and we never forget that. The establishment keeps underestimating Trump, and they keep losing because of it. Americans are tired of losing, tired of being lied to, and tired of watching their country get pushed around. Trump gives them something different: strength, transparency, and unapologetic American leadership. Again, I'm Tom McCullough filling in for Gary Franchi. You can see he's back in town. You've seen him pop in a few times. He'll be back in on Monday. This has been the Raw Feed. Stay free and God bless.